SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, Willis Reed, who won 2 NBA championships during his Hall of Fame career with the Knicks, has died at the age of 80. Reed, nicknamed the Captain, had been in poor health recently. His most famous moment when he played in Game 7 of the 1970 NBA Finals after missing the previous game with a thigh injury. Grizzlies star Ja Morant met with the media for the first time since his 8-game suspension for conduct detrimental to the NBA ended. He told reporters his counseling to manage stress will be an ongoing process. He was adamant he does not have and has never had an alcohol problem. Morant is expected to return tomorrow against the Rockets, and it's unlikely he has a drop-off in his game, believes ESPN's Tim Legler.
And I don't think mentally he's going to be the type of person that's going to be bothered by it to the extent that it affects his play. I think you're going to see Ja Morant be explosive. He's going to be a guy that's going to be attacking, and I think he's a guy that understands right now there's a lot of scrutiny on him, and he's probably feeling like he really wants to come out and be the best version of himself.
Fairleigh Dickinson's Tobin Anderson has agreed to a 5-year contract to become the next basketball coach at Iona, reports ESPN's Pete Thamel.
Need to spring back into hiring season? You need Indeed, the smart hiring platform that delivers 4 times more hires than all other sites combined, according to Talent Nest. Post a job and hire ASAP. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Man, we got a lot to get to. Doug Thompson will be with us next hour. We'll talk a little LSU baseball. Mel Kiper's got his latest mock draft out. Tiger baseball back on the diamond tonight at the box against Central Arkansas. Pels against the Spurs. So, man, we got a lot to get to today, and glad to have you hanging out with us here. The LSU football Tigers, after a prolonged spring break, they were back on the practice field on Tuesday morning and getting some work in. Third practice of spring, if you recall, 2 Thursdays ago, they opened up spring. They practiced Thursday, Friday, and then they took 10 days off and for spring break, and now they were back at it today. And Brian Kelly explained that the reason they structured it that way was to allow them more days for film work and classroom work and just to be around the team during the spring period. By stretching out the practices, they were able to do it as such. A couple of things that were notable today, and full disclosure, I was not at practice this morning. I have read a lot of the reports, so I'll hat tip folks who reported this info as I use it. And I'll start. Glenn West over at Go247 had a little bit of a roll call, and what jumped out to me was that there were only 6 available offensive linemen today. Miles Frazier was not a participant today. Of course, Miles Frazier was a starter for LSU a season ago, and it is assumed he will be one of the starting guards, the FIU transfer, that'll be one of the starting guards to begin this season. So it opens the door, though, for other guys that may have more opportunity. It also illustrates why it was so important for LSU to go address offensive line in the portal. And we talked about that a lot, and some people were surprised whenever I would say that pretty consistently, that this was something they needed to address, and they did by adding Maryland transfer Mason Lunsford. But Lunsford's not here yet. He won't be here until the summer. And Lance Hurd is someone's got a lot of expectation for, but he's not going to be here again until the summer. So you look and, your first 5, and if Charles Turner's not participating this spring as well. So Marlon Martinez, who's really number 6, he plugs in at center. Well, now you remove Frazier. Well, you're turning to someone with no experience. which is why it was so important for them. Now, look, again, some of those depth issues are going to be answered when you get on the practice field this summer, when you're healthy and whole and all the transfers and the incoming freshmen are there. But to get through spring, you could look at it and say, man, there's holes, but it also creates opportunity for players, and that was pretty prevalent today. The running backs is something we talked about. Like, the only two healthy running backs, scholarship running backs running drills right now are Noah Cain and the freshman Trey Holly. The good news is Josh Williams, Armani Goodwin, we're both at practice today, just not in pads and really just doing light workouts, not doing any type of contact drills. But they should be good to go. So as you look around, defensive line, Mason Smith not going through no contact, Deshaun Womack, Mason Taylor. We mentioned the running backs, Matthew Langlois, the safety. You got a lot of guys. Of course, Mason Smith and Mekhi Wingo. A lot of players that you're counting on are injured right now. And Brian Kelly talked about that today. This is 15 Muse, where he talked about, yeah, there's a lot of injuries right now, but it's actually trending very positive as you move toward the summer.
We had 9 guys out today that factor into our 2 deep and significant playing time. 8 of the 9 will be back when we begin our summer program in the first week in June. The 9th is Armani Goodwin, who won't be back until camp starts. So they're all in great position. They're all doing well. They're all moving actively. So, we're in the middle of March. These guys are, on schedule to be full go, doing everything, by the time we come back, in the first week in June.
So that's the great news, right? And when spring started, and I told you the things we were watching for spring, the number one, and talked about a lot of the position battles, the quarterback reps and whatever. The number one thing was just stay healthy. The worst thing that could possibly happen in spring is you suffer an injury that will cost you a season. Vanderbilt had an offensive lineman tear his ACL in their first day of spring practice. Like, that's the nightmare scenario. So all you really want to accomplish in spring is make sure you get to the fall with the guys you're going to count on healthy. So if you got, as Brian Kelly said, they got 9 guys in their 2 deep that are nursing some kind of injury right now. Great. Don't need him in spring. I need him healthy in the fall. Those are already guys that are proven starters. This just opens the door as an opportunity for people trying to win reps or win a job. I think the defensive line rotation is really interesting. You know guys you're going to count on. We talked about Mason Smith and Mekhi Wingo, who aren't out there right now. Deshaun Womack's going to have an amazing opportunity to play a key role for this team. But right now, that starting rotation is Savion Jones is playing the big end. Ovie Ogofu, the Texas transfer, is playing the jack, as is Braden Swinson, the Oregon transfer. And on the interior right now, your first 2 are Guillory and Parrish Shand. Guillory obviously is returning, and Shand is the transfer in from Arizona. But you've got Jalen Lee that's still going to be part of this rotation, who transferred in from Florida. Jordan Jefferson, who transferred in from West Virginia. You've got big bodies and numbers and depth that are coming. But right now, what an opportunity for Parrish Shand to take first-team reps while Wingo and Smith aren't there. How do you do? How much will you factor into that rotation starting in the fall? It's a great opportunity for those guys. We've obviously also seen Harold Perkins move from that jack spot to the inside linebacker spot. I know that confuses a lot of people. A lot of people wonder why, because he's so dynamic of a pass rusher, but he can do more as an inside linebacker. He can do more as Devin White on this defense, which was always going to be his role. Now, that does mean, look at the jack linebacker spot and see where the opportunity is. We talked about Ovie Ogofu. We talked about Braden Swinson. Deshaun Womack's guy who could factor in. Brian Kelly was asked today about that jack linebacker spot and how that all shapes up with the guys coming in, the transfers, and the freshmen.
There's young players in there, but we brought some transfers in there. So Ovie Ogofu has played a lot at that position in a similar role at Texas. And we felt like him and certainly Braden Swinson are 2 guys that had a little bit more of a veteran kind of presence with some young players, and we felt like that was the kind of mix that we were looking for. And that's proven to be pretty good right now. Ovie's been really good as a leader, as a mentor right away to some of the young players. And I think some of the young kids have shown themselves to be a little bit further along than we thought. And that will be a position that continues to evolve.
The other thing I'll point out as well, he's right. Look, Ovie Ogofu's a sixth-year player. If you remember the backstory, he played for Brian Kelly at Notre Dame, then transferred to Texas. Now he's back with Kelly at LSU. So a sixth-year guy that knows that position well. Braden Swinson is a third-year guy with experience coming in from Oregon Athletic. You've got a rotation there with an experienced guy. Womack is a guy, Deshaun Womack is a five-star who is athletic enough to play the jack, big enough to kick inside, or play the big end opposite if you need him. So the thing that we all learned last year, and we all learned it together with Matt House, was how he wanted to structure a defense. And one of the things that I came away last year super positive about with Matt House is when he didn't have great numbers. Remember, that was the thing. They didn't have great numbers at defensive tackle, especially after the Mason Smith injury. Like, you were rotating three guys on your interior defensive line, like Jaquelin Roy, Mekhi Wingo, Jacoby and Guillory. You just didn't have numbers there. Well, now you do. But what we saw last year was how creative Matt House got to get guys on the field. If you had to kick ends down to play tackle, to go big, however you might have, Harold Perkins playing the jack spot. They got creative and they were productive. Well, now he's going to have numbers and he'll be able to be creative to get the best guys on the field. I just feel supremely confident in Matt House after what we saw a year ago and his already proven track record. And remember also, John Jancic now moves from his off-field role to the on-field role. We've talked so much about him as the special teams coordinator, but remember, he's also coaching the jack linebackers. That's to do with a ton of college experience, primarily coaching that front seven on the defensive side. So you feel great about that position as well. One more thing, and I think this is, Brian Kelly talked about the depth. And when you go out to practice right now, I mentioned like you got 6 true offensive linemen out there. You look thin on the defensive line. A couple of the guys you brought in transfers that are going to be playing in your secondary aren't out there right now. You could look at receiver and realize, well, Shelton Sampson's not out there yet. So some of those numbers may not look great right now in spring, but Brian Kelly said it plainly, like they have addressed the depth issues on this team.
We clearly feel like we've addressed some depth needs, but you wouldn't know that today. We've got 8 healthy linemen out there, so we're actually in a different position than we were last year, and that we have to be a lot more careful in terms of what we're doing. We've got some help on the way, which will help us during the season. But I think each year what we're looking for is we want to be physically stronger, faster, bigger, faster, stronger as a team, and we are.
Brian Kelly, again, LSU resuming spring practice on Tuesday. They'll have a day off Wednesday. They'll be back at it on Thursday, so we'll get another look at the team, and they'll start some weekend scrimmages as well, and the media will get a little more availability, so looking forward to seeing a lot of that. So Tigers back on the practice field, and they are going to go through the end of April. So we got a good ways to go here still for the remainder of spring with LSU football. Lots of football meat on the bone still to come. Okay, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Love telling you about South Point Volkswagen, airline just north of Highland. I rolled through Benny's Car Wash earlier today, and the tech that was there kind of punches in the codes or asks for upgrades and all that sort of stuff was he was getting me my new sticker. I just bought a Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport, so I had to get a new sticker for Benny's for my the car wash code. And so he's like, do you mind if I put the sticker in? So I got out of the car. He got in, and he said, man, this is a sweet ride. Hey, man, I'm telling you, if you've never driven a Volkswagen, if you've never sat behind the wheel, if you've never sat in one and experienced it, you owe it to yourself. The style, the feel, the performance of luxury, I tell you all the time. The leather seats, the digital dash display, the panoramic sunroof, all the luxury features without the cost. South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Go test drive one today. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, y'all, got a lot to do today, man. Good show today, and we're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, the Saints continue to spend in free agency. They've added another defensive back. I want to give you some thoughts on it. We'll do that when we return. It's AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling, commercial or residential, tell you every day. Think real estate, think Darren James. One of the great things that you're going to start to notice right now. Look, when COVID came, things were crazy. The market was flipped on its head. In so many instances, as soon as a sign went in the yard, you had multiple offers on a home and it was gone like that. Well, the market is settled. Inventory is back up. That means it's a great time now if you're thinking about moving. If you want to maybe get a little bit more home as your family expands. Maybe, as we move into the spring months, this is when people start to get transferred for work for the next year, and you start thinking about school year next year if you're going to move. The inventory is there. It's a great time to buy. And look, a lot of people look at interest rates right now. You could always buy now, and when interest rates drop, refi later, but find that home of your dreams. Let Darren James help. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. Buying or selling, think Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on select new 2022 Ford F-150 trucks. $10,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
.104.5 ESPN in Baton Rouge brings you the 2023 $1 Million Bracket Challenge, powered by Acura of Baton Rouge and Coors Light. See how you're stacking up, make fresh picks in a standalone bracket for the Sweet 16. The winner of this extra round will receive $100 in Pluckers gift cards. You must get your picks in before the first game on March 23rd. It's the $1 Million Bracket Challenge, powered by Acura in Baton Rouge, Coors Light.
So the Saints, oddly, as much as we talked about their free agent issues and the cap issues, the Saints have been the fourth highest spenders in free agency so far. Now, obviously a big part of that was the Derek Carr deal, but Kai Harley did his thing. They worked a whole bunch of contracts to give themselves cap space, and boy, have they spent. And they continued that on Monday evening, agreeing to terms with Lonnie Johnson, who's a defensive back. I'm going to tell you about Lonnie Johnson in a quick second. But maybe equally of note or of greater note with the Lonnie Johnson signing is the news that Justin Evans signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. So a quick rewind. Saints signed Justin Evans a year ago. He was drafted by Tampa in the second round in 2017 out of Texas A&M and was a good player, had injury issues, and missed 3 full seasons. Finally came back from injury. Saints signed him, sort of just took a flyer on him to see if it would work. And Justin Evans ended up being pretty good for the Saints. Now, in his career, he's played in 39 games with 25 starts. But again, he missed that 3-year chunk in the middle before the Saints brought him back this past year and was a productive member of the Saints secondary, both as a corner, safety, and a specialist. So Justin Evans is a guy you would have loved to have had back, but he signed a free agent deal with Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia obviously had the ties and the sort of interwoven cloth with the Saints and the Eagles is so interesting right now. With, of course, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, leaving the Saints for the Eagles. Now he's in Detroit, where he's playing for Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn, who are with him in New Orleans. And now Evans leaves New Orleans to sign with Philly. And as a result, the Saints needed some depth at safety and corner, and in that same role that Evans played a year ago. So they signed Lonnie Johnson. This is so interesting to me. It was first reported, by the way, hat tip to Jordan Schultz of The Score, and Johnson confirmed it with a tweet saying, "At Saints, let's get to work." The interesting thing is, remember I told you Evans was a second-round pick of Tampa Bay. Well, Johnson was a second-round pick of the Houston Texans. Listen to their synergies. Both Lonnie Johnson and Justin Evans started their college careers in JUCO and ended up at SEC schools. Evans played at Texas A&M. Lonnie Johnson played at Kentucky. Both were second-round picks. Both are 27 years old. Both are versatile secondary players that can play both corner and safety and have played both corner and safety in their NFL careers. So you're talking about basically the same guy, except Lonnie Johnson has played more, even though Evans started his NFL career before Lonnie Johnson did. Evans missed the 3 years, so Johnson has played more. In his career, Johnson has played in, 56 games with 19 starts. Evans, 39 games with 25 starts. So Johnson's played in more games. He's been around longer. He's been a little bit a healthier player than Evans, but Evans was a good player for New Orleans last year as a rotational piece. And now you look at Lonnie Johnson coming in to be essentially that same role. So when you're talking about getting, it effectively is a cut and paste. What you did with Evans in 2022, you're now doing with Johnson in 2023, and they're just very similar players. Lonnie Johnson is a bigger player. He's over 6'3", so he's a taller, longer corner, but physical enough to play safety, which you would hope if you're the Saints that you have a healthy Tyrann Mathieu, a healthy Marcus May, and your secondary, for all intents and purposes, is set with Marshawn Lattimore and Alontae Taylor and Paulson Adebo, and you're great. The reality is we've also seen that they need depth. We saw Marshawn Lattimore miss time last year due to injury. Paulson Adebo, who's having a great camp last year, hurt his knee and ended up missing time, which pressed Alontae Taylor into a lot of duty that maybe we weren't necessarily thinking. The aforementioned Justin Evans when Marcus May missed time. So, yes, I think it was appropriate. It was needed. And you essentially went and found, like, that Spider-Man gif with the two Spider-Mans looking at each other, pointing at each other. That's kind of what you found. I mean, you lost Justin Evans, signed Lonnie Johnson, kind of the same guy. All the way down to the JUCO, to the SEC, to second-round pick path that they followed. By the way, so Johnson was drafted by the Texans, played there for 3 years. The Texans traded him to the Chiefs last May. He was cut in camp, ended up signing with the Titans, where he played the 2022 season. Now in 2023, he'll be with the New Orleans Saints. So the Saints keep on spending in free agency. What other spots do they look at in free agency is very interesting. We know the spots they need to address. They still have to address the interior defensive line. I am assuming they still need to address tight end. I don't believe they're going to go into the season with just Adam Troutman on the last year of his rookie deal and Juwan Johnson. They're going to add someone. If it's Foster Moreau. See what happens there, man? Like, you hear it so many times and then you just do it. Like, it's programmed in your brain. So Foster Moreau, we talked about. Maybe they look in the draft at tackle, tight end. Totally possible. Receiver is another spot where they're going to add more bodies. They have to add more bodies going into the season. So do they do it in free agency, or are they looking draft? That's the big question that we don't know right now. But the Saints have been free spenders. They have certainly been willing to spend. There's only 3 teams so far in this free agent cycle have spent more than the New Orleans Saints, a team that coming into this offseason was cap hell. That's why we say it over and over again. The cap is a farce. It can be manipulated over and again. The problem with manipulating it, though, is eventually that bill comes due. And how often, how deeply in debt you are sometimes hamstrings you as far as what you're going to be able to do, especially if you miss on players with big contracts. So this one appears to be an affordable one. We'll see what the terms are for Lonnie Johnson. When we get it, we'll certainly talk about it. But the Saints have added a defensive back in Lonnie Johnson. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. That's energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. They do it all. They do it better than anyone. And remember, when you call Relief Windows, they offer a lifetime transferable warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. Y'all, temps are going to be in the 80s next week, and it's just here. Like, spring is here, and shortly thereafter, it's going to be summer and triple-digit temps. Make your home more energy efficient with energy-efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows. Call 288-8138, 288-8138, or go to ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door, siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. Hey, one other quick note here from as far as the Saints go. Kalen Saunders, actually I've heard it pronounced Colin Saunders. It might be Colin, not Kalen. But he was introduced. This is the big defensive tackle we talked about last week who signed with the New Orleans Saints. Spent last year with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's like 6 foot 320, but athletic enough to do a backflip. I mean, he is their the big move the pocket interior player that they brought in essentially to replace David Onyemata and Shai Tuttle, part of that mix in the middle. And he talked about the opportunity given him there in New Orleans.
I mean, honestly, I told my agents, just to kind of look around for the best opportunity, because that's a word that you guys will hear me use a lot throughout while I'm here, is just opportunity, because I feel like that's one of the things that people kind of overlook. A lot of people like to compare opportunities to each other's and stuff like that, and that's not the type of person I am. I'm just all about my opportunity and what I get to do with it. And so honestly, it wasn't anything that like, I got a call from all these different teams. I was like, I want to go with them. It was the fact that that's really why I came, because the Saints were contacting my agents. They were like, hey, we want him, we want to give him an opportunity. And once you hear that, it's like, I kind of was like, well, I don't need to hear anything else.
Sometimes I'll use this term loosely, but ego matters. Guys want to be wanted. It's not that dissimilar from the recruiting process, where young guys tweet about who showed the most love. Like, a lot of times it matters. Who wanted you? Yes, I'm not discounting money, but if you feel like you got your value, you're going to have an opportunity to play and a team wants you there and sees value in you, it makes sense. One more. Here's Saunders on what he brings to the Saints on the field.
Well, on the field, obviously, you can tell by my body, I'm more of a run player, big body. I definitely use violence in my hands and stuff like that. And then also just athleticism, just raw athleticism, man. I take pride in being an athlete. I always kind of not played the right position I was supposed to until I got to the league, you know what I mean? So I definitely take pride in that, and just kind of catching people off guard when, you're thinking like, oh, he's going to be a mauler or whatever, and then kind of got some good feet to kind of get around.
That is Colin Saunders, defensive tackle signing with the Saints, who was introduced here this weekend in New Orleans. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Tiger baseball back on the field today. They take on Central Arkansas. Former Tiger Doug Thompson going to join us in 30 minutes from right now. Talk about the weekend that was. We'll preview the game tonight, the weekend ahead. And Lee Feinswog next hour. We're going to laugh at Lee, right? I mean, Lee picked Purdue, and Purdue got eliminated, right? They're not in the tournament anymore.
Yeah, I know. They didn't make it past the opening round.
They were a 1 seed, weren't they?
They were a 1 seed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's usually not a good thing, right? When a 1 seed loses to a 16.
Yeah, it's only the second time it's ever happened.
Oh, ever?
Ever.
Wow. In history.
Yeah.
Oh, Virginia was the
UMBC. Remember that?
Boy, that was a blowout too.
Yeah, that wasn't even close.
Wow. Yeah, no. Was this one close?
This one was at least close.
A little closer?
Little closer.
Yeah. They played Farley Dickinson, right? Or is it Fairleigh Dickinson?
Fairleigh Dickinson.
Yeah, I never know if it's Fairleigh or if it's Farley. I don't know. I kind of like saying Farley Dickinson.
FDU.
Let's go with FDU.
FDU.
And after Lee Feinswog saw the result, he said FDU too.
Probably. I don't know. I don't think Lee curses.
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Absolutely he does. We will. So we'll laugh at Lee in about 45 minutes. I'm sure he'll laugh at himself. I mean, how many more times do you go back to the well?
You just keep doing it.
You think?
Eventually you're going to hit. You have to, right?
No, you don't have to.
I guess not.
Maybe I'll ask him that. How often do you keep going back to the well? Okay, Lee Feinswog in the next hour also. All right, stick around. We'll go around the SEC next. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Great night to get by Pluckers. I know I say that every day, but there's always something going on. And tonight in particular, you got two big things going on. Number one, so you got an LSU baseball game there at the box. So if you need a place to watch the game, or if you're going to the box, you can eat at Pluckers before or after the game, right? So swing on into Pluckers. The Nicholson location is just south of the box. I mean, if you're coming up Burbank, you hang a left on Nicholson instead of crossing Nicholson to get to Alec Box Stadium. Just hang a left. Pluckers is right there on the left. So eat at Pluckers before the game, eat affordably, eat great, eat after the game if you're leaving the box. Or look, if you need a place to watch, get by either Pluckers location. The Nicholson location tonight and every Tuesday, Hunt Palmer hosts sports trivia at 8:30. So watch some LSU baseball starting at 6:30. By the time you get to the middle innings, maybe the later innings, Hunt fires up sports trivia, eat some wings, drink some beer, win Pluckers gift cards. It's Pluckers. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job
HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Moon Griffon is back. The voice of Louisiana politics makes his return to Baton Rouge. Catch the Moon Griffon Show weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, Tiger Baseball is back at the Diamond tonight. They'll take on Central Arkansas. As of yesterday, Jay Johnson had not yet decided on who his starter was going to be, but he did talk about one of the freshmen and who he wants to get a lot of work moving forward.
I have a lot of confidence in him, and it's just kind of a weird one. Like, he pitched good his first 2 times out, and it's just like that's on the pitching staff. Like, that's the guy that we got to get in the ball game. You know, I mean, I have great faith in him, and he'll execute very, very well.
It was Griffin Herring who he was talking about. One more from Jay Johnson, who talk about not just Herring, but other guys who are going to get more opportunities here in these midweek games.
There's guys I constantly want to get more at-bats for. There's certainly pitchers I want to get innings for, and you'll probably see some of those guys here in the next week or two because of the schedule and, you know, the intensity of how some of the pitchers were used. You know, you can't go back to like a Garrett Edwards tomorrow because he threw 66 pitches on Saturday and did a great job. You know, I can't go back to Shores tomorrow, who started last Tuesday, because he did a great job yesterday. So I think those opportunities are coming, and I'm excited about that for the development of where this team needs to get to add more pieces to the puzzle for now and in the future is a good thing.
So no Edwards tonight, no Shores tonight. You kind of narrow it down, and you can kind of cherry pick who's going to get work tonight for LSU. I'll also be curious to see who starts in the field. Do some guys get a night off? Is this an opportunity probably to get Braden Joubert back in the lineup? Or do you want to make sure that you're comfortable and getting guys like Pearson and Kling their at-bats, and certainly Kling maybe getting off the schneid from this last weekend and getting him some confidence before you go into the Arkansas weekend. So how Jay Johnson lines it up tonight will be interesting to see, as we continue to learn this team as they move through conference play. All right. Brought to you by HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. A couple things to tell you about with HUDCO really quick. Number one, August is 2 years from Hurricane Ida. Remember, you have 2 years to file an insurance claim from the date of a storm. So if you think you might have had, or are just now realizing you had damage due to Ida, it's not too late to file an insurance claim. We can help you. At HUDCO, we have insurance professionals on staff that's what they do. They just contact and deal with insurance companies to get your claim approved, to get you your roof replacement. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Also, remember, hurricane season, we are less than 100 days away now. And as we all hope and pray that we are spared and we don't have major storms, one thing that you can do proactively is contact HUDCO about a fortified roof. Go to the website, HUDCOroofing.com. You'll see the green tab right there on the website, on the homepage. It just says fortified. Click that. You can learn about a fortified roof. HUDCO is Louisiana's first Louisiana-based certified fortified roofing company. This is probably in the not-too-distant future going to become mandated by our state government because it's going to lower insurance premiums. It's going to protect your home from, even if you have wind damage, from getting water damage inside, which becomes very costly. I don't need to go too deep into the weeds. Just understand, if you want to learn more about it, how you can further protect your home with hurricane season on the horizon, give us a shout. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Commercial or residential, Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Okay, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Tennessee Volunteers.
All right, Tennessee football has added a game for 2024. They're going to open up in Charlotte against NC State in the Dukes Mayo Classic. That replaces the game Tennessee previously had scheduled with Oklahoma. But, of course, Oklahoma will be in the conference in 2024, so that game goes away. So the Tennessee-NC State game will be played September the 7th at Bank of America Stadium. Tennessee last played there against West Virginia in 2018. Tennessee's other non-conference games that year, Chattanooga, Kent State, and UTEP. So one of those, presumably, is going to have to go if the SEC moves to a 9-game schedule.
The Missouri Tigers.
Marcus Johnson, a Missouri assistant all 3 years under Eli Drinkwitz, he's leaving Mizzou. He's been named the new offensive line coach at Purdue. Johnson and new Purdue head coach Ryan Walters overlapped during the 2020 season on Drinkwitz's staff at Missouri, where Walters was the defensive coordinator. Johnson had one more season on his contract at Mizzou. His guaranteed salary was $600K, so we'll see what the terms of his new deal at Purdue are. Missouri is set to return 4 of their 5 starters on the offensive line this fall.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Vandy offensive lineman Jake Ketchek is going to miss most or all of this upcoming season due to injury. He suffered a torn ACL during the first spring practice in February, so he could very well be done for the entire season. Ketchek played in 5 games in 2022 with 3 starts and was expected to compete for a starting job in 2023.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Suspended defensive back Tony Mitchell, we now know, is driving 141 miles an hour as he attempted to flee police in Florida last week before being arrested. Police initially pursued Mitchell after they observed him driving 78 in a 55. He accelerated to 141 miles an hour before being pulled over. Police recovered a loaded firearm and smelled the odor of burnt marijuana in the vehicle. Mitchell, a freshman 4-star prospect, was a top 100 player in the country.
The Florida Gators.
And 4th-year Florida forward CJ Felder has entered the transfer portal. Remember, Felder started his career at Boston College, played 2 years there, averaged 10-6 at BC. Went to Florida. Of course, Michael White was fired, replaced by Todd Golden. Felder played in 30 games for the Gators, including 3 starts, but never really became a consistent contributor. He's the 4th Gator to depart the program in the portal. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products, online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com. For Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale. The official office equipment provider of the LSU Tigers, the New Orleans Saints, the New Orleans Pelicans, the ULL Raging Cajuns. That's right. Gulf Coast Office Products supports the local teams that we cheer for. They cheer for as well. It's Gulf Coast Office Products. If you are a business, you need office equipment, copiers, scanners, fax machines, all-in-ones, interactive whiteboards. They've got you at Gulf Coast Office Products. GCOPnet.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. I'm not sure if you heard the story we did there about Tony Mitchell. You probably remember it from a week ago. The Alabama defensive back who was arrested, he's a freshman, 4-star, was arrested, had a passenger in his vehicle. They were going 141 miles an hour. The passenger was arrested for possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute. They had $7,000 cash. They had a large amount of marijuana in the car as well, a loaded firearm. So very bad situation for Tony Mitchell to be caught in. And it led Nick Saban on Monday when he met with the media and was asked about Tony Mitchell to say this.
Tony Mitchell has been suspended from the team and all team activities until we gather more information about the situation and what his legal circumstance is. And, guys, everybody's got an opportunity to make choices and decisions. There's no such thing in being at the wrong place at the wrong time. You got to be responsible for who you're with, who you're around, and what you do, who you associate yourself with, and the situations that you put yourself in. So it is what it is, but there is, cause and effect when you make, choices and decisions that put you in bad situations.
Did Nick say? Did Nick say what I thought he said there? Did I hear that right?
There's no such thing in being at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh, he did say. Did he think he was? Hey, did he think he was just gonna sneak that in there and nobody was gonna notice? Huh? You do remember what Nate Oates said when his star player, the SEC Player of the Year, Brandon Miller, when he was arrested. Remember what Nate Oates said, don't you?
We knew about that. I mean, can't control everything anybody does outside of practice. Nobody knew that was going to happen. College kids are out. Brandon hasn't been in any type of trouble, nor is he in any type of trouble on this case. Like, in the wrong spot at the wrong time. So
your friend calls you, asks you to bring a gun to him. You do, and then he uses that gun to kill somebody. Wrong place, wrong time, right? Listen, I don't mean to make light. That's a tragic situation. I do not in any way mean to make light of that. We all understand the severity of what happened in that circumstance with Brandon Miller. My point is specifically Nick Saban using his pulpit to take a shot at the head basketball coach at the school where he works. You want to talk about some uncomfortable staff meetings because Nick Saban, who is the most powerful man in college athletics, most powerful person in college athletics, taking a shot at the basketball coach at his school for how he handled discipline, that is, I'm short of adjectives to use here on just what that means, how impactful that is, and why Nick Saban would be willing to go very publicly and take that shot at Nate Oates. And the one thing I know about Nick is he gonna protect his assets, if you know what I mean. And I will be interested to see after the suspension if there is any punishment on Tony Mitchell. Nick knows he doesn't need Tony Mitchell to win championships. Tony Mitchell, highly recruited player. There's a lot of highly recruited players that don't pan out. Some of them stay at Alabama for a year, leave, they still win. So Nick don't need Tony Mitchell. What he needs is for the Tony Mitchell situation not to be a negative reflection on the future and potential of that program reaching whatever heights that Nick wants it to continue to reach. And if that means pulling that thing in reverse and backing over Nate Oates while he's the number one seed in the NCAA tournament, Nick's going to do it because Nick don't care. Woo! God bless. Who's the Alabama AD? Is it Bill Byrne? Who's the Alabama AD? Do you remember?
Greg Byrne.
Thank you. Greg Byrne. Greg Byrne. Can you imagine having to get those two in a room together? Nick, I need you to apologize. You think that
You really think he'd ask Nick Saban to apologize? Because I don't.
Do you think Nick would apologize to Nate Oates?
No.
Oh, man.
I don't think Greg Byrne would ask him to. I really don't.
The Nick Jimbo thing, though, was a great telltale. And Jimbo doesn't even work at Alabama. And because Nick publicly said what he said about A&M buying a class, it created the kerfuffle. The whole thing is always presenting a unified front. The league has it. Institutions have it. And Nick went a little rogue right there. And, last year, Nick kind of had to do the mea culpa, try to do the apology thing. And Jimbo was like, I'm not talking to him. We're about slice bread. And I understand what Nick's doing, but don't think that's over. Like that is going to come back to Nick at some point. Mark the tape. That's coming back at some point. All right, we got to go. It's after further review. Quick break. Doug Thompson in 12 minutes. We'll wrap up hour number 1 next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery, 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. And boy, that little cold snap we had a couple days ago, gone. It is 71 degrees right now. Sun is shining. Gorgeous day in the capital city. Get on by Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations, they got full greenhouses. And, man, it's so fun to walk into Clegg's, man. Like, whenever we go, me and Erica will take Drew. He loves to just kind of, they're so nice. They kind of let him run around the store a little bit. They'll have like the greenhouse cats that they keep, like they're the store pets that'll go in there, and he likes to go, pet the cats and all that sort of stuff. It's a great way to go spend part of a Saturday, part of a weekend, to go by Clegg's, to buy some flowers, some plants, to get your hand in the dirt, add a pop of color to your flower beds, to your patio pots, beautify your exterior spaces, bring your lawn back to life. Clegg's can help with all of it. And they're partnered with True Value Hardware Store. Buy local, shop local. Be sure to tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Jeep Gladiators and $8,000 off new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokees. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Mark Wilson texted the show, Muse. He said, different rules for Nick regarding Cam Robinson. It's a good point. That's the point we talked about in the break, is Cam, Hootie Jones, in a car, stolen gun, drugs, late at night. Dude, not only did he not miss a game, I don't think he missed a snap.
Yeah, my thing with that, though, is not that it's different rules for Nick regarding that. It's just he never mentioned Nate Oates by name or anything like that. I mean, it was a very thinly veiled shot that wasn't so thinly veiled because everybody's going to pick up on it. But he could easily talk his way, be like, I'm handling discipline on my team, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I think it's different if it was like him saying A&M bought the class. In those terms is what I meant. Not that Nick is this knight in shining armor, golden saint boy.
Do you have any doubt whatsoever that was a direct correlation to Nate Oates' comments?
Oh, I don't.
That's the point.
I just think you can add reasonable doubt.
Everybody knows that's what Nick was doing, and that's why he's that's not going to go. That story, that ain't going to go away. The whole him taking the shot at Nate Oates. We'll see. We'll see how it goes forward, especially because he's going to have to decide discipline somewhere along the way. We'll see, but it's what everybody thought, right? I mean, it's just what everybody thought. Have we gotten any reports from Auburn's pro day yet? Have you seen any on Twitter? No. Cam Newton was thrown at Auburn's pro day today. Somebody asked me this morning, what I thought about that. Almost like it was kind of like a joke that Cam would do that. I have no problem with Cam Newton throwing at Auburn's pro day whatsoever. That's very commonplace. It's just rare that you have athletes that are that high profile doing it. Every year at LSU, there are former athletes who maybe have been out of the NFL or in the XFL, USFL that could go work out at Pro Day because you have scouts from all 32 NFL teams. You have a chance to go to one singular place and work out for all of them. So that is a very common thing. Cam Newton, though, just continues to insist that he is one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't think we have time to run this whole cut. That's okay. Cam was on the pivot this past offseason with RC and the guys, and he and Channing Crowder went back and forth about it pretty intensely because Channing called him. He's like, bro, you're not one of the 32 best anymore. Like, we saw you in Carolina. We saw you in New England. Like, you ain't it anymore. It's hard for guys that have always been able, who certainly aren't, to acknowledge. It's why so many guys hang on too long. Now, why hasn't Cam gotten the opportunity to hang on too long? I don't know the answer to that. But I will be fascinated to see if Cam Newton does perform well and if he gets an opportunity to show up at a camp somewhere. It'll be one big storyline to follow as we move toward NFL OTAs and then training camp. So, all right, it's after further review. SportsCenter. We'll chat with Doug Thompson of the LSU Sports Radio Network next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, online at Michelli.com, Michelli.com. You know where to find them. Michelli Weighing and Measurement, they are our nation's largest distributor of scales, but they do so much more. At Michelli, they say, we show the world what measurement can do. And they service dozens of different industries. As a matter of fact, when you walk into Michelli's main headquarters, our New Orleans office, you'll see these big green signs like all over the office, and everyone designates or denotes a different industry that Michelli serves. If you weigh or measure something, if you need your PMDs, your precision measurement devices calibrated, Michelli does that. If you have equipment that can't leave your office, factory, whatever it may be, they can come to you and calibrate on site with their mobile calibration labs. If it's easier for you, they can come pick up your devices, bring it back to their lab, calibrate it, and return it to you. It's all about being efficient, making you more efficient, and doing business with a handshake. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Online, Michelli.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. Days after state police blocked a trooper from moving into a coveted new position after the WBRZ investigative unit exposed his checkered past, corruption watchdogs are wondering why that trooper was not arrested for killing two sisters in an at-fault crash in North Louisiana. They believe the trooper's father, who was the leader of state police at the time of the crash, afforded him all kinds of special treatment. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models. And as always, you will never pay over MSRP. We also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Willis Reed, who won 2 NBA championships during his Hall of Fame career with the Knicks, has died at the age of 80. Reed, nicknamed the Captain, had been in poor health recently. His most famous moment when he played in Game 7 of the 1970 NBA Finals after missing the previous game with a thigh injury. Grizzly star Ja Morant today spoke to the media for the first time since his 8-game suspension for conduct detrimental to the NBA ended, said he made a terrible decision, many mistakes. He also apologized again, said his job now is to be more responsible and smarter. He may need to lean on others to help him do that, advises former UNLV and NBA power forward Larry Johnson.
Having the right people around you. I mean, it should be somebody around him kicking his right now. Just letting him know that you made a big mistake and this is not small. And you have to make up for it. You have to atone for that. So, and he's a smart guy, so I'm hoping he'd be okay.
Larry Johnson on Fitz and Harry. Morant is expected to return tomorrow versus Houston. Fairleigh Dickinson's Tobin Anderson agreed to a 5-year contract to become the next basketball coach at Iona, reports ESPN's Pete Thamel.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. LSU football is back on the practice field today, 1 hour from right now. I do want to talk about Denver Harris, one of the big stories. 5-star cornerback, 1 season at A&M, was a bit of a knucklehead, got dismissed. Brian Kelly brings him on today. Brian Kelly explained why. We're going to get to that in 1 hour from right now. Tonight, LSU baseball back on the diamond. They welcome in Central Arkansas. Our buddy Doug Thompson, former Tiger pitcher, part of the LSU Sports Radio Network. Good enough to talk a little baseball with us. How are you, Duggar?
Doing good. How are you doing today, Stone, man?
Man, I'm doing awesome. I'm actually excited about this game, an opportunity for a little bounce back after the loss on Sunday. Coming out of that series, Duggar, when you're so emphatic for the first 2 games and then you look like you've got a sweep in the bag and then you let it get away in the bottom of the 8th, how do you bounce back, from the emotion of letting something slip through your fingers like that?
Perspective. My favorite coach of all time said when we went 19-1 or 18-1, I can't remember. We started out the gate pretty hot the year we won the national championship. We lost the first game. And after the game, he said, hey, boys, we weren't going to go 56-0. It's not how this game works. Things happen. The other teams, they're trying to score runs too, and they have guys that hit a lot too in practice, and it's really tough to win them all. And 18-2 is pretty much winning them all. I mean, you really can't be much more dominant than that. So I really expect this team to bounce back. There's going to be a ton of offense tonight, and what a great weekend coming up at the box.
I want to get to the Arkansas weekend in a bit. Let's talk, though, about tonight. So we know there's going to be no Garrett Edwards, no Chase Shores after the workload that they shouldered. What would you like to see Jay Johnson do tonight on the mound? What's the most effective way to make it through this game tonight on the mound?
Well, first of all, Blake Money, I think, is going to get the ball, if I'm not mistaken. Is that what you just said? You cut out.
Jay hasn't formally announced it, but I do.
Well,
yeah, I do believe that's what's going to happen. Yeah.
I haven't talked to anybody, but it seems like that's who he'd go with for a couple reasons. He's really been good. Like, he's been sharp. To me, today's Blake Money is a little more advanced than the guy that was even the Friday night starter just a couple years ago. I mean, it seems like he has better control of his fastball. He has a better breaking ball. He's throwing it over in the account. He's really kind of simplified things. And, I mean, how lucky are all these kids to have a guy like Wes Johnson to come in and work with them to their strengths and teach them how to, get those outs with their strengths. He's just really done a great job. But I think he deserves it. And I think there's some other arms that we'd like to see tonight, like Bryce Collins and Sammy Dutton and some others that, of course, just haven't had the opportunity yet. I mean, this is unlike anything we've ever seen in terms of depth. And, I know how hard it is just from even playing in the minor leagues, how hard it is to get on the field, how hard it is to see somebody on the field that you feel like that you can compete as good as, if not better. And just the numbers not work out or the game situations not work out to where you get your opportunities. It's a very frustrating feeling for an athlete. And there's kids out there like Sammy Dutton and Joe Bear and many others, of course. But the point is that could look around and are looking around going, man, I could be playing there every night, or I could be playing there every night. Some of those people could be playing in SEC schools. So, but I tell you, the story of Keith Polazola is what I keep thinking about with this team. If they just, and not even those guys, Keith Polazola was here for 4, maybe 5 years in 1997. Warren Morris left. Keith Polazola was the quote-unquote heir apparent for second base, right? Like, even when I got there, everybody kind of thought, and then there was this guy named Blair Barbier, who was a freshman, who he hit 17 home runs that year and played pretty much every game out at second base. And Keith Polazola could have been the bad apple. He could have been Debbie Downer. He could have not been the life of the party like he was when he, at the very beginning, but he wasn't. In fact, he was the opposite. He was the same guy. He was still the life of the party. After the last pitch of the national championship game, Keith Polazola was the first guy from the. I still don't know how he beat everyone else out there.
Fresh legs.
But it's true. Like that happens every year, where guys were a big part of the season before. They come in and they think, yeah, there's new guys. I know who they are, but this is still my gig. And then it doesn't play out that way. And the other guys that get the opportunity end up being dudes. That's tough to swallow. And to me, that's one of the only things that could disrupt a season that starting out the first 20 games is about as special as we've ever seen.
Yeah. Doug Thompson's with us. He's on Twitter at DT9Tigers. You mentioned Dutton, by the way. The guy who was part of a weekend rotation a year ago. He said he's pitched 2 innings on the season so far.
I know.
Listen,
his fastball's 94, 95 miles an hour. He's got a curveball for a strike, a changeup. Like, these guys are dudes. Like, it's not like they didn't perform well and they're not going to get their chance. It's just like, man, there's a lot of talent on this team, including 2 guys that, in my opinion, are major leaguers just wearing a college uniform one more year. I mean, like, game ready this year right now, major leaguers. And that's just a lot of depth to deal with. So I'm hopeful guys like that can find some type of a niche or some type of a role with this team. And if they can't, I hope they can be that dude that's on the top step, that's waving the towel, that's got the hat backwards, because national championship teams, they all have those guys.
In your career, it's well said. In your career, you struck out 282 hitters. You weren't Paul Skeens. Let's just be honest. I mean, Paul Skeens might very well be the first pick of the draft, but you were a power pitcher who struck out a lot of guys. How does Paul Skeens maintain that velo, that level of dominance over the course of a 10-weekend SEC schedule and then through the postseason?
Well, I heard an interview with Jay Johnson recently about Skeens and what he's doing the next day after an outing. I mean, the guy is just absolutely tunnel vision on being better than he was the outing before. And, of course, that includes a regimen of conditioning, which he'll have to continue to do. He takes care of himself. And I don't know if you stood next to Paul Skeens yet, but this is a massive human being. I'm 6'6", but 240, 245. I mean, if I'm a GM of a major league team, that's exactly what I'm looking for that guy that's going to toe the rubber 35, 38 times over the course of a year. I mean, he is just as durable as you want to be, and that's going to take care of a lot of it, right? Those guys, those big guys, not only tall, but those wide guys, Clemens and Nolan Ryan and all those type guys, they pitch for a long time because they're so durable. So I don't know that the fastball is not – it's cold out here right now, Matt. Like, guys don't normally throw their best fastball in February or March, and I'm not so sure that we've seen his best fastball yet. Throw a super regional here at the box with some other team that's supposed to be good and 10,000 people on their feet for, clapping for an 0-2 count. And let's see what happens then on the radar, because this kid it's unusual, it's special, it's something that, I've never seen here at the box, and I've seen a lot of good ones. And listen, I hold all those names, from Nola to McDonald and Bird and all of them in the highest regard, Renato, and on and on and on. I know how hard it is to do what those guys did, and this cat is kind of setting his a new bar every time he goes out there. I mean, double-digit strikeouts in 5 straight starts, 50, and that's not – look, maybe we're not playing anybody yet. Did you hear that, right? Although he has beat a team or two now. But it's not even the strikeouts. It's not even the 59 strikeouts in 30 innings pitched. It's the 4 stinking walks. Yeah. That's he's playing Nintendo out there, man. I mean, it's just a different level for him.
Doug, I do want to ask one about a guy who did struggle this weekend. That was Paxton Kling. To what do you attribute the struggles? How do you get him back on track?
Well, I think there's a certain risk with throwing freshmen out there. But, at least I know the way that Skip did it was if he was going to go with a freshman, and that was very rare, right? Very rare. But when he was going to give him a little bit of a rope, understanding that part of the fault of the bad weekend or a couple defensive mistakes or whatever you may have, right? It's part of being a freshman. So, but look, he's so good. It's almost like you want to get him as many reps and under his belt that you can, because, you keep hearing he's very similar to Dylan Cruz, and he is. Just a little bit bigger and a little bit faster. We've seen that he hits for the same type of power. I'm not saying he's the better all-around hitter than Dylan Cruz. I don't know that anybody ever has been, really. But this kid is special. He's the fastest or second fastest player on the field. He hits for power. He's a 5 defender. And he's just a special talent. So he's one of those type kids that you're going to expect some ups and downs. But as down as he was this last weekend, he was that on fire the weekend before. And it's going to be like that for a little bit until he can get adjusted.
Hey, Duggar, I'm assuming you'll be at the box this weekend. How many games are you going to be calling with Chris?
Well, tonight, and then I'll do Friday and Saturday this week.
Got it. And Buzz will have Sunday?
I think so. Yes, sir.
All right.
The Buzzard.
Man, it's a fun time of year, and I think back to 2017 when you and was that Blair's first or his second year? For Blair, was that his first or his second year calling baseball?
Oh, that was our. Let's see here, man.
2017. I think
that was our
second year, and obviously I made the deep run in Omaha, and you had the Camel coming on the show with us as well from Omaha.
Camel's giving me his thoughts. That's right.
It's and now Blair's son Crafton and Camel are they're grown now, so it's like, hey, that's been 6 years, man. Let's get the Tigers back in Omaha and make a run.
And how about this? I was, you get the memories thing on the apps that see the pictures, and the other day I got one of Cam standing next to Will Furnace, who, he's got the snowball stain above his lip, and now look at Will Furnace. It's crazy how time flies. But I think the point you're making is it's time to get back to freaking Omaha, Matt. And this level of excitement is, I agree with you 100%. It's very reminiscent of that year. It's very reminiscent of 2009. It's very reminiscent of the late 90s. And every time going back into the box, man, I feel that energy more and more. And the coolest part is, everywhere you go, everybody's talking about those Tigers, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah. Doug Thompson, Tigers back on the diamond tonight, hosting Central Arkansas. Have a great call, Duggar. Thanks for the time as always, man.
Oh, thank you, man. You're the man.
All right, we'll see you later. That's Doug Thompson. This is After Further Review. Hey, let's make fun of Lee Feinswog for picking Purdue to win the national championship. That's next. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com, electric vehicle chargers for your home, for a commercial building. I want to remind you, in particular, if you're a business owner, even if you don't drive an EV or care about EVs, remember, a lot of your customers do. And so with the increase of production of electric vehicles, seeing them more and more on the road, if you're a business owner and you install an EV charger, that's an amenity for your customers. It's proven you will bring more customers to your business if you have an EV charger. They're more likely to stop at your business so they could charge and then shop while they're there. The other thing also is that installing an EV charger from ProCharge does, in fact, become a revenue model for you. There are tap-to-pay options, and ProCharge can manage all of it, so you just get a check every month. In time, it'll pay for itself and increase your revenue. It's ProCharge. Learn more at ProChargeEV.com. They're local. They can install within a couple of days. ProChargeEV.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Jeep Gladiators and $8,000 off new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokees. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on select new 2022 Ford.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
So 1 week ago, our dear friend Lee Feinswog, as he does every every single March, had this to say on AFR. Okay.
Emerging from the left side of the bracket will be Baylor and, of course, Purdue.
Okay.
Purdue, of course, will beat Texas in the national championship game. Finally ending Matt Painter's long drought.
This is what happened over the weekend.
The lob, and that will do it. FDU believe it! For just the second time ever, a 16 beats a 1.
Hey, Lee, how are you?
You know, it's funny. It's Fairleigh Dickinson's not even that good. Didn't even play that well. That was, and it was abysmal what Purdue did. You know, if you're Matt Painter, who has established Purdue as one of the best programs, right? I mean, they won the Big Ten. They've been in the upper echelon for the longest time. You have to have a serious talk with yourself and say, what are we doing wrong?
Yeah.
Why are we so ill-prepared for the NCAA tournament? I mean, 2021, upset by North Texas in the first round. 2022 in the third round, one of the victims of St. Peter's last year, which really was good and played really, really well. But it is, and then for this to happen, I mean, they were so ill-prepared for the double down on Edey or the triple down. They had no composure when it mattered. It was stunning to see them purely melt down. And, without taking credit away from Fairleigh Dickinson, I mean, hell, they lost to Florida Atlantic, but it was just sad to watch this team melt down. But I had to admit, though, I was laughing the whole time watching it because I said, this is so funny based on our conversations year in and year out. And, of course, the last few weeks we've even joked about it before Selection Sunday. And I was sitting here saying, well, the second this game ends, there'll be a text from Moscona. And sure enough, there was. And I have to tell you, I laughed. But I will say this, look, I've got half my Final Four still alive, which is more than a lot of people could probably say. Because I had Baylor, Purdue on the one side, both gone, but I have Texas Gonzaga on the other side. Neither of one. Yeah, Texas is, right up there. You got some potentially delicious matchups. But how about Miami, Florida, not only beating the Indiana men the way they did, beating the Indiana women.
I know.
As well. And one of the very few there's two major upsets on the women's side. Ole Miss in number 8 beat Stanford at number 1, and Miami's in 9, which beat Indiana. There were 7 whole upsets in the first 2 rounds of the women's tournament, which is 48. And 2 of those, one was a 9-8 and 2 were a 10-7. The women's tournament would be much better served to have 48 teams. The competition would be so much better. Nobody'd be left out who have a chance to do upsets. But that's another story for another day.
I don't disagree. Actually, there's the level of parity in the women's tournament is essentially non-existent. The women's parity runs far less deep than the men's. Yeah.
But it's still even having watched it and watched Virginia, for example, the year Virginia lost. It's still incomprehensible that it could happen. Do you remember when Mississippi Valley State had a lead on Duke back in the 80s? This is way before your time.
No,
when it was still on
no.
ESPN, and that's when Dick Vitale was in studio. I'm going to stand on my head if Mississippi Valley State beats Duke. I can't believe it. And they took them to the limit. That was a really, really good Mississippi Valley State team, which had a future NBA player on it. And but Duke prevailed, and then of course it never happened again until the Virginia game. But it's hard to believe that a team that could win the Big Ten could lose to Fairleigh Dickinson,
who wasn't even, as everyone has said, who wasn't even supposed to be in the tournament. They made it on a technicality because the team that actually won their conference wasn't eligible to go to the tournament because you got to be in the conference for 2 or 3 years, whatever it is, before you're eligible, or something like that. So I whatever.
And the Northeast Conference is still reeling this week with the loss of St. Francis Brooklyn, which is ending all sports at the end of this year.
I'm devastated.
I'm sure you're in mourning.
Lee Feinswog is with us. Do you have any other takeaways from? By the way, I was not watching Purdue and Fairleigh Dickinson. That was on Friday when LSU baseball was and Paul Skeens was absolutely mowing down Texas A&M. So I was enjoying that, not the NCAA tournament. But any other takeaways from the opening weekend?
Well, there were a lot of really exciting games, as you would well expect. It's fun to watch the way Princeton plays basketball. You know, you love the man-to-man, the backdoor cuts. It's amazing how they still get away with that against good teams. And don't forget, Princeton's a 15 and beat Arizona at 2 and just embarrassed them. But Princeton played super, super well to do that, and then did the same against Missouri. Played, Creighton, which, maybe opened up for them because, Creighton scored an upset in there over Baylor. Who knows? Princeton could be that team that gets in. They're really fun to watch. You have to look at that side now, and if you didn't think so before, think that Alabama is by far the dominant team left.
Yeah, for sure.
If you watch Kansas State plays a really good brand of basketball. I love their coach. I love what's happening there. They were really fun to watch. On the other side, I certainly hope we get a Houston-Texas matchup. But of course, Houston's got to beat Miami, which is playing out of its mind, and Texas has to beat Xavier, which is playing extremely well.
Should John Calipari be on the hot seat?
No, I don't see how you can do that. But
why not?
Because what would be the purpose of putting him? I mean, you could put him on the hot seat, but would you? You certainly wouldn't fire him.
Why not?
But because who are you going to get better?
I don't know, but I also feel
what's
that
the point?
Because you take your shot because it feels like you've hit your ceiling with John Calipari, who's proven over the last 12 years he can't win in the tournament.
Well, you also take the idea that the SEC has the most teams left in the round of 16,
yes.
3, right?
Good league for sure.
And they're not one of them. But I don't think you thought – I didn't think Kentucky was one of the 4 best teams or 3 best teams in the season.
No, I agree. But isn't that the problem?
Yeah.
Because that's your expectation at Kentucky.
I would tell you that the times that I watched Kentucky this year, I didn't think Kentucky was nearly as good as it should have been. And that includes – in the tournament. But Kansas State played just super. Did you watch that one?
No, of course
Kansas
not.
State, Kentucky. Oh, okay, my bad. Great matchup coming up too, K-State and Michigan State.
College basketball is a terrible product. I don't enjoy college basketball.
Oh, I don't.
I'll watch LSU because I have to, and I'll talk about it here. But unless if I have a rooting or financial interest, I'm probably not watching a college basketball game. So and
not even the tournament.
It depends. I mean, the first couple days of the tournament were fun. That's usually a fun thing. But I was watching LSU baseball on Sunday. I wasn't watching Kansas State against Kentucky.
Well, and I respect that because all college basketball is 3 people standing around with their hands out all the time on offense, and some teams maybe deciding that they're going to play some defense. So I get that. However, it's kind of like, I personally don't watch a lot of NBA, but I really like the NBA playoffs, especially after the first round is done. In this case, these next 2 weekends, to me, are way better. Next two dates, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, I think are better. And the 4 finals, regional finals going into the Final Four is way better than the Final Four. This is when it's really, really good college basketball because you've paired away the bad teams and only the hot teams with a lot of talent are left. So I personally enjoy it. I don't appreciate the college basketball game anymore. I could go on and tell you things like, I hate the 3-point shot. It's ruined the game. It's here to stay. It's certainly not going anywhere. But I'm so sick of just watching 3 people standing around with their hand out.
Back in my day, we ran the 4 corners offense, and we liked it that way.
I'm glad we got a shot clock. I'm just telling you, a guy hits a mid-range jumper, and I go, ooh, he gets 2 points for that. Look at that. Wow. So that's –
dunks are more fun.
Oh, love good dunks. And love teams that play really hard-nosed, great defense and crash the boards. And, there you go. So, I respect you not caring per se. Do you fill out a bracket and go with that?
Yeah, we have to fill out a bracket for our bracket challenge, which that's a fun thing to do and to follow along. So, but nobody really cares what anybody's brackets say. I just like to make fun of you because you picked Purdue and it's a good bit on the show. We do the bit on the show every year. But well,
of course,
I could sit here and go through my bracket, but nobody listening cares about my bracket. The only thing they care about is if I'm losing to my mom, right? So that's the thing. Like we'll assess each round, and if I'm losing to my mom in our bracket contest we do every year, which basically proves you don't need to know anything. My mom let my niece and nephew, who are both under the age of 7, fill out the bracket for her. Like,
nice.
And she's probably beating me right now. I think she had Missouri in the championship.
Well, I just want you to know that 51 weeks from today, I'm going to pick Purdue to win the national championship.
And I will very much look forward to it. Hey, are you going to watch the World Baseball Classic final?
It's one of those things I'll put on the side TV. I'm really disappointed that so many people are getting hurt. I feel it's really a shame, and I have mixed opinions about this event. I appreciate the passion for the guys playing it and for the smaller countries that are super excited about it, but it really should be after the season is over, right after the World Series. So if guys get hurt, number one, they don't cost their teams. I mean, there's some really good players for people around here who, for example, who are big Astros fans. Altuve, broken thumb. That's no small thing.
Yeah.
And but I do appreciate the passion that guys have. If you haven't had a chance, by the way, if you get a chance to watch the video, listen to the sound of the walk-off win for Japan. The announcers may have had to go to the emergency room for hemorrhaging after that. I didn't know what they were talking about, but it sure was funny.
And you know what they probably did after that win for Japan? They probably went to a local pub and toasted themselves an ice-cold beer.
Oh, what is the malted liquor? What gets you drunker quicker? What comes in bottles or in cans? Beer. Can't get enough of it. Beer. How we really love it. Beer. Makes me think I'm a man. Beer. I can kiss and hug it, but I'd rather chuck it. Beer. Got my belly out to here. Beer. I could not refuse it. I could really use a beer. Beer.
All right, take it away.
All right, so this one is, I had no idea what to expect. Shiner has this beer called Taste the Trail Ale. And it says, hit the trail with this robust ale brewed with nuts, dried fruit, and a chocolate for a salty, sweet flavor and rich, smooth finish. And I didn't know what to expect. Like I wasn't really paying attention to it. I just opened it, and I happened to be eating at the time. And I tasted it, and I said, darn, this is good. And then it has this incredibly strong chocolate aftertaste that was really good. This one really blew me away. I don't know. I just opened it casually, not really looking at the label and thinking what it was going to be. And now they say food pairings: shepherd's pie, flame grilled sausages, or red flannel hash. Matt, do you know what red flannel hash is?
I don't.
I don't either. And I'm probably never going to drink a beer with red flannel hash. But nonetheless, tasting notes: a more substantial ale with flavors of nuts, dried fruit, and chocolate in a full-bodied brew. This beer is salty and sweet with the perfect amount of drinkability. All I can tell you is it tasted really good. It's shocked me because I'm not usually shocked by a beer. I mean, I just figured, Shiner, they do nice stuff. This is really, really good. Now, I would recommend it probably, again, almost like a dessert beer, or, maybe need a little pick-me-up on the trail, since it's like trail mix. Get yourself one of these. No, it was really good. I give it the, I don't know. We should have, how many mugs? I give this one 4.5 mugs out of 5.
Really? That many mugs?
I really liked it.
It looks like the cranberry hue, as I'm looking at on the picture that Paul has up here. It looks like it's just dark red.
I was so surprised. I'm not easily surprised, but, there you go.
Okay. What's coming up on Sports Monday this week?
I've got a really, really busy week, Matt, for a million reasons. Slam, the Baton Rouge Block Party Volleyball Tournament. Can I hear it?
Hey!
Oh, they're sleeping. 300 teams at various locations, including the Raising Cane's River Center, the Lamar Dixon Rev Center, and various sites around town. Big girls youth volleyball tournament. And combined with a big baseball tournament I know that's going on at Attraction. I think every
Shout
hotel
out.
room is taken up, so we're making our economic impact. How about that, huh?
I love it. All right.
Yeah.
So I guess that means no show this week, but
oh no, well there'll be a best of.
A best
course,
of. Got it. Yes, of course, man.
Maybe one you might have missed with Brando. I did one with him a couple weeks ago that was really good. That would be logical.
You haven't had me on the show in a long time. I'm feeling left out.
You were on not too long ago.
No, I wasn't. It's been forever.
All right. Next week, you're good.
Okay.
All right. There you go. Now you can ask me next week who's my guest.
I'll look forward to it. Thank you, Lee.
Drink on, Matt.
All right. That is Lee Feinswog. This is After Further Review. Stay here.
AFR.
Love telling you about our friends at the Watermark and the Renaissance. Two amazing hotel properties in two different parts of Baton Rouge. The Watermark in downtown Baton Rouge. The Renaissance in Southtown. Right there on Bluebonnet near I-10. Two gorgeous properties. The Watermark is like stepping into a time capsule. The old Louisiana National Bank building, Baton Rouge's first ever skyscraper, they've maintained so much of the structural integrity of the original building. A lot of the marble and the stone and the sculptures into the wall. It's gorgeous. But they've updated, modernized a lot of it as well. You got to check out the Watermark if you haven't. The bar area in the lobby is great for a drink after work or dinner at the Gregory, which is fine dining in downtown Baton Rouge. You've got to try. Trust me, get the duck entree. Just trust me, you will thank me later. It's the Watermark Hotel with the Gregory right there in the lobby. Check it out, the Watermark Hotel.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green. This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, Pels Spurs tonight. I don't, man. Do you care? Pels Spurs tonight. Are you going to be locked in at all?
Not at all. I'm going to be at the box.
Well, no, I know you're going to be at the box. I don't want to be locked into that too. But the result of the game.
No,
are you
I
interested?
don't care. I don't care anymore.
Okay.
No.
Paul, do you? You care at all?
Not really.
Do you care? Let me know if you care. I know I say this, and I'm going to repeat it again, and I say this all the time. I don't do this show for me. I do it for you. I don't talk about things I want to talk about. I talk about things that you care about, that you want to talk about and hear about. It doesn't matter if it's of interest to me. I tell you all the time, one of the things I love the most is UFC. I rarely talk MMA on this show because it doesn't scale in this market with our audience. There are transcendent topics that I can talk about. I can have a Daniel Cormier on the show because he's a guy from Lafayette. It's one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. I can have Dustin Poirier on the show because he's a guy from Lafayette who's a great mixed martial artist. He's fighting Conor McGregor. There is transcendent appeal to that. I can't break down like a UFC fight night with fighters you've never heard of because nobody cares. I may care, but you don't. I'm talking what can I scale? And the Pelicans, we've had this ongoing bit here forever where you all know it during the fall. Like we don't talk Pelicans or NBA until Christmas. I can't justify it. During the middle of football season, there's no justification for talking early regular season NBA games. And so this year, I wanted to do it. So the bit we did was we played a bunch of Christmas music. We just kept calling it Christmas Day every time they played. We had Graf on here. He was awesome. We played, and it was a backdoor way to be able to talk NBA without actually breaking it down for everybody that was just gorging on football. But the more this goes along, I don't know that I can really justify it. The Pels play the Spurs tonight, and I think many of us are holding out hope that this team can find its sea legs, somehow find the footing, recapture the magic it had a year ago when it made the trade for C.J. McCollum and Larry Nance and went on that great run into the postseason and won the play-in and pushed the Suns, and there was so much expectation, and then early this year, they lived up to it. They were worthy of the conversation. They were interesting. They had the best record in the Western Conference, and Zion was doing things we'd never seen before. Well, Zion gets hurt, and they go on this skid, and now they're losing games they have no business losing. A couple of weeks ago, they lost at home to Orlando. On Friday, when they lost on the road, they blew a 15-point fourth quarter lead to Houston. It's harder and harder to justify because I think we all understand what the inevitability is here. Listen, right now the Pels are 34-37. They are a game out of the 10 seed. If they win tonight and Utah loses and the Lakers lose, the Pelicans will be back in the play-in. And then they play Charlotte, which is 23-50. Their next two games are super winnable. You're at home against two of the worst teams in the NBA. You should win them both. So after those two games, you could look up and you could be back in the play-in. And over the next 3 weeks, the Pels could very well play themselves into the play-in. And it's not completely unrealistic to look and say, look, Golden State is there in the 6th seed. And you are 2 games behind Golden State. 2 games away from the 6th seed, which has you out of the play-in into the playoffs. You're 2 games. Like, it's very mathematically doable. But it feels, you see, we just like did this informal poll with Muse and Paulie. Like, it feels like they're done. It feels like the Saints season did. When you're in this miserable division, and even though you are bad, mathematically, you are right there. You're right there from winning the division and making the playoffs. So you continue to keep this heartbeat, this pulse alive, but we all understand what the inevitable end was with the Saints and what it is now with this Pelicans team. Like, they're not good. They're not good. Willie Green's rotations have been questionable. You see star players disappear at times. I get the Zion injury thing that everybody wants to talk about, but I'll continue to point out, at the end of the season last year, you made the run with this very group you have right now. This very group. With Brandon Ingram, with C.J. McCollum, with Larry Nance, with Herb, with Jose. It's the same crew. Jonas, same crew. And what are you? I wouldn't be surprised at all if they go out tonight and they lose to San Antonio. I hope they win it. I hope they get on a run. I hope they recapture some of that vibe, whatever it was a year ago that they had found, that synergy that they've just lost this year. So, look, man, I'm going to watch tonight. The game's at 7. We'll have LSU baseball tonight. They'll probably be up 15 runs in Central Arkansas by the time this thing tips. So I'll be back and forth between the two. Maybe by the time baseball ends, I'll lock in for the second half of the Pels. I'll watch it because I'm interested. Look, the Pels are a 13.5-point favorite in this game tonight. 13.5-point home favorite against the Spurs. That's how bad the Spurs are. But if we're sitting here tomorrow and we're talking about a Pels loss, I'm not going to be stunned because it's just the nature of what this team is right now. So maybe mathematically they can get it together and make it happen. Just not banking on it. So Pels Spurs tonight, 7 o'clock from the Blender. If you're going to get going, you got to get going now. I mean, you needed to get going 2 weeks ago. But I feel like the attorney in Big Daddy. Right, Muse? Pending a blood test at whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever. You know, pending the results of a blood test, I
object. Shut up, Tommy.
Shut up, Tommy.
Sorry, Mr. Koufax.
Sorry, Mr. Koufax. He has enough counsel. One more won't hurt. Okay, it's after further review. Shut up, Tommy. Such a good. Why do we laugh at that stupid movie so much?
Because it's awesome.
It is kind of awesome. How many people do you think know? I want to. Should we do a freak jury? I don't know. I was gonna do a freak jury. We're kind of running out of time. We'll do a freak jury on do you care about or maybe make this the poll question. Do we have a poll question up already?
Yeah, but we can have 2.
Do another one. Do you care about the Pelicans Spurs tonight? Yes or no? Do you care? I'm guessing we're going to go 60-40 no. I bet you we're going 60-40 no on that one tonight. Hope I'm wrong. We'll see. All right, it's AFR. It's AFTAR. Nope, it's AFR is what it is. Only said that for 13 years. Don't worry, just letters. We're brought to you by DraftKings. DraftKings is an official sports betting partner of the NBA and one of the most popular, highest-rated sports betting apps that you'll find any darn where. Don't worry, Muse. New disclaimer that I have to read. So I'll try not to screw it up today. And, see if we can nail it. So March Madness is underway. It is a tremendous time of year if you are a sports bettor, as I am, as are many of you. And DraftKings right now is giving you a great opportunity. The biggest tournament in college basketball is underway. The action is just gearing up on the DraftKings Sportsbook right now. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the promo code Baton Rouge, bet $5 on any pregame moneyline bet, and score $150 in free bets if your team wins. Again, $5 pregame moneyline bet, and they'll give you $150 in free bets if you hit. That's at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Got to use the promo code Baton Rouge. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up with the code Baton Rouge. New customers bet $5 on any pregame moneyline bet, get $150 in free bets if your team wins. Only at the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Baton Rouge. All right, Muse, you ready? All right, here we go. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Free bet expires 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball. Terms. Licensing partner Gold Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. Yeah! Yeah!
You got through issuance. I thought that was going to trip you up. I mean, that's not a word you see every day.
I can't say AFR, but I can say issuance, friends.
And under pressure,
Nailed
too.
it. With people watching.
How about that?
Nailed it. It's AFR.
AFR.
Nailed that one, too. Yeah, I'm on a roll. We're brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001. 752-0001. Sunny and 76. On our way into the 80s next week. Have you done it yet? Have you called River City's 1 Hour Air? I have. I strongly advise you do it as well. I don't just talk about River City's 1 Hour Air. I am a customer. Erica and I, we are part of their membership club that I encourage you to be a part of all the time. It is so worth the money you spend. When you're part of their maintenance club, you get the standard seasonal maintenance complimentary. So when I tell you about the AC tune-up or the heater safety check, that's complimentary as part of the service club. You get top of the list priority whenever you call, and you get membership club pricing as well if you do need repairs or replacements. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side and call 752-0001 for River City's 1-hour air, whether always on time or you don't pay a dime.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. Days after state police blocked a trooper from moving into a coveted new position after the WBRZ investigative unit exposed his checkered past, corruption watchdogs are wondering why that trooper was not arrested for killing 2 sisters in an at-fault crash in North Louisiana. They believe the trooper's father, who was the leader of state police at the time of the crash, afforded him all kinds of special treatment. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Jeep Gladiators and $8,000 off new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokees. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Wrapping up hour number 2, Musso has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Today, the Seattle Seahawks released defensive tackle Al Woods.
Bring him back! Who dat?
I like it.
Bring him back!
Move saves $3.6 million in cash and in cap space. The 13-year veteran turns 36 next week.
Bring him back!
30 starts over the past 2 years. A career-high 50 tackles in 2021, 39 tackles last season. He's really hung around. I'll be very interested to see.
Drafted him.
Yeah.
Cut him.
Yeah.
Lasted 13 years in the league. Bring him back.
Depth piece. You like the idea?
You need defensive tackles.
I mean, you do.
You need run stuffers.
Look, I want to see Al Woods keep going, honestly. I really do. His last year at LSU was 09, right? Or 10?
Oh, Muse. Oh, I get it. It's 453. Got it. You misspelled the word tonight on the poll question, but it's 453. It makes perfect sense. The keyboard looked a little blurry.
No, I just probably fat-fingered it.
Well, no, if you fat-fingered it, then you would have used an extra keystroke.
Maybe Arco
You
just moved to
omitted
the
an
wrong.
H. You omitted an H.
Oh, you need to say that. So you didn't say I omitted an H. Why did I leave this? Oh, there we go. That's right. Kevin Gaussman got a start yesterday for the Toronto Blue Jays. Gauss having a fantastic spring, man. 5 shutout innings yesterday, 3 hits, no walks, and 6 punch-outs. The ERA still sits at 0.0 for Kevin Gaussman in spring training.
Awesome.
That is great, man. Jake Fraley. Yeah, we should have had an LSU guy on the World Baseball Classic. That would have been really cool. That would have been awesome. Jake Fraley 1 for 4 yesterday with a double. He'd come around to score as well. Fraley also turning in a very nice spring with the Cincinnati Reds. Average stands at .310. He's slugging .595. Real strong. Naz Reid last night, 20 minutes off the bench for Minnesota. Double digits in points, 12, 6 of 9 from the floor. Would add 3 assists, a block, and 2 rebounds. And the T-Wolves beat the Knicks. And how about Tari Eason? That's who we'll wrap up with today. 31 minutes in a starting role. Another double-double for Tari Eason here in his rookie campaign. 21 points, 12 boards, and 4 steals. Still a great defender, that Tari Eason. Shot 9 of 16 from the floor. That's Tigers in the pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You know where to find them. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, corporate in Bocage, and in the Mall of Louisiana. At Lee Michaels, they have been helping Baton Rouge get engaged for more than 30 years, but not just Baton Rouge. They've got locations all over Louisiana, 9 locations in all. So go to LMFJ.com, as in Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com to find the location nearest you and to shop their gorgeous selection of diamonds, where you always get the Lee Michaels experience. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, LSU football was back on the practice field today. When we come back after SportsCenter, Denver Harris was out there. Brian Kelly explains why they gave him a second chance.
AFR.
Brought to you by Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Y'all, Easter is right around the corner. And if you're thinking, what in the world am I going to do with my kids while they're out of school for Easter? Traction can help you out. 2 options. They've got the Easter baseball camp. That's the whole week, April 10th through the 14th. They've got full and half-day options. You want to get your son out there playing baseball? They've got you covered at Traction. Again, the week of April 10th through the 14th, full and half-day options. That's ages 5 to 10. Also, the Traction Easter Speed Camp. This is hosted and coached by my guy Tevin Moten, the best performance trainer in Baton Rouge, working with your child ages 10 and up. Speed mechanics, acceleration, max velocity, plyometrics, lateral speed, all that stuff. If you need, that's 9 to noon on April 10th, 11th, and 12th. So, great camp options for Easter week at Traction. Learn more at TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made.
At Corville Toyota in Opelousas, you can get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models. And as always, you will never pay over MSRP. We also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corville Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Water.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Moon Griffon is back. The voice of Louisiana politics makes his return to Baton Rouge. Catch the Moon Griffon Show weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m. on Talk 107.3.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Willis Reed, who won 2 NBA championships during his Hall of Fame career with the Knicks, has died at the age of 80. Reed, nicknamed the Captain, had been in poor health recently. The most famous moment for him, when he played in Game 7 of the 1970 NBA Finals after missing the previous game with a thigh injury. Grizzlies star John Morant met with the media for the first time since his 8-game suspension for conduct detrimental to the NBA ended. He said he obviously made a terrible decision, many mistakes. Said his job now is to be more responsible and smarter going forward. Morant is expected to return tomorrow night against the Rockets, and it's unlikely that his game has any drop-off, believes ESPN's Tim Legler.
And I don't think mentally he's going to be the type of person that's going to be bothered by it to the extent that it affects his play. I think you're going to see John Morant be explosive. He's going to be a guy that's going to be attacking, and I think he's a guy that understands right now there's a lot of scrutiny on him, and he's probably feeling like he really wants to come out and be the best version of himself.
Grizzlies forward Dillon Brooks suspended for tomorrow night's game against the Rockets after picking up his 18th technical of the season.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay, and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Come join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusu. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. We'll get to Mel Kiper updated mock draft here in about 15 minutes, but not just Mel. Daniel Jeremiah. Lots of NFL mock drafts out now, especially after the big trade with the Colts and the Panthers going up to take the number 1 overall pick. So we'll get to that in about 15 minutes. We'll give you the starting lineup for LSU and Central Arkansas at the bottom of this hour as the Tigers are back at the box. If you missed Doug Thompson, former Tiger great, with us 1 hour ago, you can always catch that on demand on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel or however you get your podcast. Just search After Further Review and please subscribe up. We do appreciate that. AFR on demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. So LSU football was back on the practice field on Tuesday. They took a long hiatus. They were there 2 weeks ago, 2 Thursdays ago. Practice Thursday, Friday, and then took 10 days off for spring break, and they were back at it today. And this was the first time that Brian Kelly, upon meeting with the media, discussed the addition of Denver Harris. Now, many of you are aware of who Denver Harris is. Denver Harris was a 5-star recruit when he signed with with Texas A&M. If you look at his recruiting profile, it was a consensus. He was in the industry composite. He was the number 23 overall player in the country. He was the 3rd best cornerback in the country, the 6th best player in the state of Texas. On3 rated him the 22nd best player. ESPN rated him the 25th best player. Rivals the 21st best player. And 247 didn't like him very much. They rated him the 45th best player in the country. But a consensus. I mean, he is that dude. He was one of the most coveted cornerback signees of the 2022 signing class. And Texas A&M landed him because in that class they landed a bajillion 5-stars, as Nick Saban so aptly put it, because they bought their whole class. But Denver Harris was a knucklehead. And he acted up during his time in College Station and found himself running afoul of the rules and ultimately was booted. And now he's landed at LSU with a second chance. And I do understand that some people are going to look at this cross-eyed. Now, if you're an LSU fan, you're just going to see the talent. You're going to embrace him, and you're going to make all the exceptions and excuses and that you need to bring in a very talented guy to your program. Everyone outside of LSU is going to look and say all the things you would expect someone to say whenever you give a guy who's run afoul of the rules a second chance because he's a good athlete. So I fully expect there to be that division among fan bases, depending on who it is you root for. But Brian Kelly today, during his media availability, talked at length about the decision to bring Denver Harris into the LSU program.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we did a lot of research. This was not a decision that we just said, here's a great player. He had to fit. We felt like, we did our due diligence in terms of his background and, there's an affiliation with LSU here with the family. He had a lot of people speak on his behalf. He had a number of interviews with Coach House and myself, and we felt with the culture in which we have put together here that he would make it here because the culture is really strong. And it's proven to be that he's done well early on, and he has no choice. He has to make it.
That's an interesting way to punctuate it, to say he has no choice, he has to make it. He ain't got to make it. I mean, we've seen a lot of people with much better opportunities than Denver Harris has playing at LSU not make it, not recognize the opportunity they have in the palm of their hand and blow it. So to say he has no choice is a bit ambitious, but in some respects I understand what Brian Kelly's saying, because if Denver Harris gets booted from LSU, he's not going to get another LSU opportunity. He's not going to get one of the preeminent college football programs to take another chance on him. He'll go play at a lower level somewhere. Think Janoris Jenkins, who got run out of Florida, went and played at Jacksonville State, then went into the league. I think maybe Janoris was a 3rd-round pick, and he's played a long time in the NFL. He got on the straight and narrow. Think Tyrann Mathieu. Tyrann got booted from LSU, was out of football, and then ultimately went into the draft, and we know what happened with his story. He's a great success story. So it's not that he doesn't have a choice, doesn't have an option. But in some respects, I understand what Brian Kelly is saying. It's probably Denver Harris's last opportunity to play at a major college football program. If he screws up again, he's not going to get an opportunity like this again. The real question comes down to whether you're okay with second chances. And when Denver Harris signed, we talked about this a bit, but it's an opportunity to go a little deeper now that Brian Kelly has discussed it. First of all, one of the things that we've seen very clearly from Brian Kelly during his time in Baton Rouge, and it's been a short time, But he has really not taken chances on guys with character issues. That is fair to say. He has held a higher standard for the athlete that he has recruited and signed and retained at LSU. I think that is completely appropriate to say. And in some instances, we've seen guys who maybe struggled initially. Kayshon Boutte is probably the most obvious example, who had trouble with that transition, but ultimately became a great team guy. And you can debate and discuss how it ended and all that sort of stuff, but the bottom line is, from when Brian Kelly was hired and he made that comment about Kayshon saying, I know his last name, to Kayshon becoming a great team guy, getting healthy, wearing the number 7, and even though he didn't statistically put up the numbers he wanted this year, was engaged and happy for his teammates when they succeeded and all that sort of stuff, all the way to scoring the long touchdown against Georgia in the SEC championship game. Now, all the stuff, the scandal at the end or the rumors of the scandal, there's no need to recount all of that, and you can make up your own mind and believe what you want to believe. But the point is, you had a guy that had a foot out the door, came back and became a good team guy through it all. So Brian Kelly, I think, deserves the benefit of the doubt as far as his track record there. But the question of are you okay with second chances, I think, really depends on the offense. Here's what I mean. I would not want Ray Rice on my team. Do I believe he was sincere in his apology and what he has done since his incident in that elevator where he was videotaped savagely punching his then fiance, knocking her unconscious and dragging her into an elevator? Do I believe that he has taken his experience from that and tried to make a positive out of an overt negative? I do. But that costs you your opportunity to play football ever again. In my opinion, the same should have been true for Joe Mixon. He punched a female student in a restaurant in Norman, Oklahoma. It should have cost him an opportunity to play in the NFL. It didn't, and he's gone on to play in the NFL, and it's really tough for me to think anything other than that. When I think about Denver Harris, I don't think about violent physical activity. I think of a young guy doing stupid things. And notice I didn't say illegal things because speeding is illegal. Should that cost you an opportunity to play major college football? No. In some places, smoking marijuana is illegal. We all have maybe different opinions on that, but there's a lot of places where smoking marijuana is legal. And rules and regulations on that continue to lessen as it becomes more and more socially acceptable. I mean, Denver Harris was on an IG Live speeding through a parking garage. That's a reckless, stupid, immature thing to do. There are far greater crimes. Like, could you point to a young person and show him why that's a dumb thing to do and ultimately have him learn and mature and better because of it? Yes. There were rumors that Denver Harris was smoking weed in the locker room with some teammates. Was that a stupid thing to do? Absolutely. And some of you are going to say, it's illegal. Weed's illegal. Yes, in a lot of places, weed is illegal. And a lot of people still smoke weed. And a lot of places, you bend the rules. And there's medical marijuana, and there's states where it's legal, and states where it's legal with a prescription. I'm not trying to have a debate about weed. I'm not. What I do know is I think ruining people's lives over weed is stupid. That's my own opinion. And I don't care that the guy was smoking weed. It was stupid to smoke weed in the locker room, if in fact he did that. And a lot of little dumb things that he did ultimately built up so much that it cost him 7 games of his season in college. He only played 5 games. It cost a supremely talented guy his opportunity in College Station. Ultimately, he left. Now, Brian Kelly, Matt House, you take him at his word. Multiple interviews, they vetted him. He's got connections with the university and family ties and things like that. And they feel like they've got structure and culture that to build around that young guy that can help him mature. Great. And he also happens to be a fantastic player at a position of need. That helps. If Denver Harris were a 2-star, I don't think he'd be at LSU right now. But I also think, from my standpoint, I like to see people succeed in life. I don't root against people in life. do we all have like fan allegiances? Of course. Like, of course I want LSU to win and I want Alabama and Texas A&M to lose all the time. But just as a human, I want Denver Harris, the person, to have success in life. Like I want you listening or watching right now to have success in life, whatever that is you do. At your work, with your family. Like the world is full of abundance. There's no reason that everybody couldn't have success and live a bountiful, fulfilled life. And I want that for it's just a general human principle. So I would rather see Denver Harris stay on the straight and narrow, have a great college career, go to the NFL, make a lot of money, change his family's life, and be a great NFL player. Like I would love that for him. Like with Tyrann Mathieu. Look, that is the quintessential example. A young guy who was immature, who had lacked at times the discipline and focus and structure that he needed. It cost him an amazing opportunity at LSU. Damn near cost him his life. And he made it. And he is now a shining example of someone who overcame poor decisions as a young person to become an unmitigated success. Like, I want that for young people. And as far as a football player, yeah, LSU needs cornerbacks. And he's a massively talented one. He looks like the defensive backs that we're used to seeing LSU sign when they've been DBU for all these years. He looks like Patrick Peterson or Morris Claiborne or Tyrann Mathieu or name it, Eli Ricks, Derek Stingley. Name the 5 stars that LSU's churned through here that have become All-Americans, Thorpe Award winners, and gone to the NFL and played for a lot of years and made a lot of money. He looks like one of them. Awesome. Come in here for a couple years, keep your head on straight, buy into the discipline, the structure, go play football, and make a great life for yourself and your family. That's what I hope for Denver Harris. I'm okay with Brian Kelly giving this kid another shot. I'm okay with it. And I hope that he's able to take advantage of the structure set in place for him and succeed. And if he doesn't, like Brian Kelly said, it's the last chance he'll get. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us here. Let me knock out a quick break, y'all. When we come back, I do want to jump into some NFL talk. Mel Kiper, Daniel Jeremiah, a couple of mock drafts out today. We'll tell you what they have the Saints doing. We'll get to that next. AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by New Orleans Flooring. You'll find them online at nolaflooring.com, nolaflooring.com, and you'll find them at 2 locations, in Metairie and then on Airline Highway in Prairieville. Great people at New Orleans Flooring. Go to the Prairieville location. Go say what's up to Big Sean. Go see Terrell. Dudes that have been there for a long time. They're experts in their field. They're great people. Whatever it is that you're looking for, if it's wood or laminate, if it's tile or carpet, they've got the options for you. They'll help you pick what you need. And the great thing about New Orleans Flooring is because they keep their inventory in stock, they cut out the middleman. You realize, like, generally sometimes, a material will go through 4 different people until it gets to the homeowners. Well, everybody's got to get their cut, and they pass that expense on to you. So when you buy at New Orleans Flooring, you're essentially saving sometimes 40% on the price of the goods. It's New Orleans Flooring. Installers, home builders, remodelers, investors, flippers, property managers, remediation companies, or just a homeowner. It's New Orleans Flooring. NOLAFlooring.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it, They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, Mel Kiper put out his latest mock draft here on Tuesday. He's got C.J. Stroud going number 1 overall to the Carolina Panthers. Of course, we're keeping an eye on that, and it's super relevant for the Saints, whatever the Panthers elect to do with that first overall pick, because as we all presume, that's going to be the franchise quarterback for that organization that is in the NFC South for the foreseeable future. So Mel Kiper, again, with Stroud going number 1 overall to Carolina, Bryce Young going 2 overall to the Houston Texans. I think one of the more interesting things that everybody is going to be keeping an eye on in this draft is what happens with Anthony Richardson. He is one of the really big risers here of late. He's sort of made the most of his opportunity at his pro day. And if you're wondering, they've got Indy trading up to 3. Kiper has Indy trading up to 3 to take Will Levis. He's got Will Anderson going 4 to Arizona. And then Seattle, with the pick that they got from Denver through the Russell Wilson trade, taking Anthony Richardson at 5 overall. So with 4 quarterbacks there in the top 5 picks is how Mel Kiper projects it. As for the Saints, if you're wondering, Kiper's got the Saints at number 29, taking Brian Breesy, the defensive tackle from Clemson, someone that we have talked about prior. And that's who he projected the Saints to take in his previous mock draft as well. And also of interest today is that Daniel Jeremiah put out his latest mock draft for NFL.com, and he has the Saints at 29 taking Michael Mayer, the tight end out of Notre Dame. Now, let me be very clear. If Michael Mayer is on the board at 29 and the Saints take him, I'm pumped. I think everyone agrees, there's a consensus, that Michael Mayer is the best tight end in this draft. And the Saints have utilized a pass-catching tight end for the last 15 years, certainly. And I look at guys like Kelsey and Kittle And I'm not saying Mayer is them, but boy, he certainly has the ability. When you talk about the immediate massive impact he made in the Notre Dame passing game, and with a dude that is that big and physical that can also be a blocker, he is your prototypical tight end. He is your guy that is the traditional tight end that is also a potential game-breaking pass catcher. So if Michael Mayer's on the board at 29, I am more than happy with the Saints taking him. I'm not so sure I believe he's going to be on the board at 29, but the other thing that all of these mock drafts continue to illustrate is the vast array of needs that this Saints team has. Because it's not just like, all right, everybody knows Carolina is taking a quarterback at 1. I mean, they traded up in that instance to do that, to take their potential franchise quarterback at number 1 overall. Like, we know that's what they're going to do. And that's no surprise to anybody. It's why they traded up there. We know that Houston at number 2, they're going to take what they presume will be their franchise quarterback. The Saints are more interesting because of not only where they pick, but because the roster is in a position where they have to be a little more flexible with what position they may take. Because they have a whole bunch of needs. They need a receiver. They need a tight end. They may need an offensive lineman. They certainly need defensive tackle help. You could make a case that they need another linebacker. Safety maybe could be a spot if the right player were there for New Orleans at that spot. But more than anything, I am on board with the Saints at 29 taking the best player available, not necessarily best player at position of need. And that's what is going to be the most interesting thing, in my opinion, for the Saints at 29, provided they stay there. There's always the chance the Saints could move up because that's just their MO. They trade up in the draft. But if they do stay there, and I'm just looking at Kuiper's mock, for example, and look at the players that he has going around the Saints pick. So at 27, he's got Bijan Robinson, the running back, going to the Bills. 28, he's got Darnell Washington, the tight end, going to the Bengals. 29, he's got Brian Bresee, the defensive tackle, going to the Saints. 30, he's got Kalijah Kancey, the defensive tackle from Pitt, going to the Eagles. 31, he's got Felix Anaduki Uzoma, the defensive end from Kansas State, going to Kansas City. So any of those players make sense for New Orleans. I mean, you've got Cam Jordan, Carl Granderson, Tano Passanio at defensive end. Yeah, Peyton Turner as well, but that's a giant asterisk next to him at this point. You got 2 defensive tackles under contract. You got to get defensive tackles. Could I make a case for a tight end? Absolutely. Just did. I mean, you signed Juwan Johnson, who's a pass catcher. You've got Adam Troutman going to the final year of his rookie deal that he just hasn't emerged the way that you hoped he had. So you could be looking for that long-term option there. We know the Saints need running back help. Alvin Kamara is near the end of his time as a primary back in the NFL than he is the beginning. And you just signed Jamal Williams, but Jamal Williams. But that feels like a 2-year stopgap, and what really are you hoping to get? If you get a chance for a game changer like Bijan Robinson, you take him, right? So I get at 20. It's why it's going to be a fun year for New Orleans in the draft, because there's a ton of unpredictability with what they're going to pick and where they're going to pick. My feeling of what the Saints are going to do is they're going to look around and say, "Where's the value?" I feel like this is the exact same situation they were in 2017 when they traded Brandon Cooks to New England and they got the 32nd pick in the draft, and they saw Ryan Ramczyk, who they had graded as the best tackle in the draft, and they took him, even though they didn't need a tackle. They saw a guy, they had a top half of round 1 pick on him at a valuable position, and they said, "We think he's the best right tackle in the draft. We're taking him." And it's worked out with Ryan Ramczyk. So I feel like the Saints are in the exact same spot, and oddly, for a similar reason. They got the pick via a trade, and it's something where they're picking later in round 1, and you're not necessarily going to be able to pick the position of need, but you're going to pick the best player available. And your hope is that you have someone on the board when you pick at 29 that you have a grade that's vastly better than 29. I mean, I learned this talking to Mike Detillier on the show for so many years, where a team may look at the entire draft board and assign a first-round grade to 18 players. I'm just throwing out a number. Let's say the Saints give a first-round grade to 18 players. Well, you pick 29th. So when you're sitting there at 29, but there's a player that you have graded as a top 18 player, like a first-round grade on a player, and you're sitting there at 29, it may not be the position you need, but you feel like you're getting tremendous value at 29. That's the thought process that goes into the draft, that in the war room on draft day, a lot of those guys in the front office are thinking that we as fans may not think of, which is a fascinating way to go through the process. But if Michael Mayer's on the board at 29 and the Saints take him, I'm pumped. If Brian Breesy from Clemson's on the board at 29 and the Saints take him, I'm pumped. I think the draft as a whole will come back the Monday after that draft, and I'll be able to assess how I feel about it. But I think it's going to be hard to be disappointed after that Thursday, that first day of the draft, with whatever the Saints do. As long as they get value, there's so many positions where they have a need. If they get someone where you feel like you got value at 29, provided they stay at 29, I'm probably going to be really excited about it. Every mock draft I've seen, there's not a single time where I've seen someone project a player to the Saints at 29, and I've been like, God, I hope that doesn't happen. It's not like in years past where you may see someone mock the flashy wide receiver to the Saints. I'm like, please no. This year, I'm with it. Draft is a little more than a month away. Excited about it. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette. Online, theantiagingclinics.com. Theantiagingclinics.com. That's where you can find them. Get on by all this month. Hey, check out as well. I am so excited to be able to tell you about this coming up. The Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana is about to launch the newest technology, the newest laser for acne treatments. It is a total game changer. Not ready to launch yet. They're still going through all of the training on it and everything, but when we do, it's going to be totally game-changing for people with acne. We'll tell you more about it. In the meantime, always encourage you to go get that blood test. Do your blood labs. Meet with Dr. Howell. Let him know. He'll let you know if you're a candidate for hormone replacement therapy. A simple blood test can let you know. You want to feel like your younger self? We all age at a different rate. It doesn't matter how old you are. It's about how you feel. And if you want to feel better, you want to feel like your younger self, you want to have more energy when you wake up, sleep better at night, wake up feeling refreshed, build muscle when you get in the gym, lose weight like you did when you're younger. Hormone replacement therapy could be the answer. Learn more, theantiagingclinics.com, and schedule that consultation, theantiagingclinics.com. All right, y'all. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. Excuse me. So, a couple things left to do here. Otter Locks is coming up in about 15 minutes. We'll find out what we're betting on tonight. I don't think Ott's parlay did well last night. Did you check? Did either of you check on it by chance?
I didn't.
Okay. Hanny, I was texting with Hanny last night, and yeah, no, it didn't hit. Let's see. It was a 3-team parlay with let's see, you had the Sixers, the Knicks, and Japan. Well, Japan won dramatically, as we saw that in the World Baseball Classic. Let's see about the Sixers and the Knicks.
The Knicks lost to the Timberwolves.
That's dreadful. I would say the Sixers and the Knicks. No, the Sixers. The Knicks lost to the Timberwolves.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay, sorry. The Sixers lost to the Bulls.
Yeah.
So his 3-leg parlay, the only thing that hit in the 3-leg parlay was Japan in the World Baseball Classic.
On a walk-off.
On a walk-off homer.
The Sixers lost in double overtime. I'm seeing here for what it's worth,
dreadful.
too.
That is dreadful.
That's rough, man.
Rough night for the Oddfather. Okay, we'll see if we do better tonight. Otter Locks coming up in about 15 minutes. All right, let's knock out a quick break. We'll come back. We'll look at the starting lineup tonight for LSU and Central Arkansas out at the box, and we'll assess. All right, it's after further review. Stay here.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Y'all, we're getting closer to Easter. A lot of people do your crawfish boils on Easter, or just, look, yesterday was the official start of spring. So it's a great time to get by Rouse's and get your crawfish, live or boil. If you're having a crawfish boil, remember they sell you the live crawfish, Louisiana crawfish only, live crawfish. Or if you want boiled crawfish for dinner tonight, awesome. Just swing into Rouse's. It's that easy. Walk into Rouse's, go to the left. Any Rouse's stores, you know the layout. The seafood department's to the left. Walk into Rouse's, go to the left, and you'll see their hot and boiled kiosk. You will see their boiled crawfish already bagged and tagged, ready to roll. Just grab, take it to the register, and rest assured with their in-house boiling rooms at Rouse's that their crawfish was boiled fresh in-house that very day. They start boiling at 11 a.m. every single day. That's at every Rouse's location. Find the one nearest you at Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I think these guys are 11-8 or 11-7, something like that. So works out good for us, and just started watching some of their stuff this morning, and they have a good approach at the plate and well coached, and it'll be a good test. We're gonna have to play well to win.
Jay Johnson previewing LSU's matchup against Central Arkansas. They'll play tonight, 6:30 first pitch. You'll hear it on our sister station, Eagle 98.1, if you're in the Baton Rouge area or affiliates of the LSU Sports Radio Network. Tigers try to bounce back after just their second loss of the season. Kind of incredible where LSU is right now. We lose sight of it sometimes because they've been so dominant. Waiting on the starting lineup to be posted, so I'll just stall, and we'll get there in a second because they should post. They usually post it in about an hour before first pitch, so it should be like literally any second. So, Muse, why don't you get us updated on the poll question today?
Sure. Today's Citizens Bank poll question, do you care about Pell Spur tonight? 80.3% say no.
There's my answer. I'm telling you, like I don't do the show for me, I do the show for you. And if 80%, and look, Twitter isn't representative of the entire population or even the entire audience, but I would argue that our most avid fans, listeners, that's representative of a majority of our listeners, not of all people, but of the people that would listen to this show or the station. And if 80% are saying, yeah, not interested, that's a pretty good indicator that most of you are not interested in Pell Spurs tonight. Didn't we have two?
Yeah, we did. You want the other one as well?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, the other Citizens Bank poll question of the day was, who would win in a boxing match? Nick Saban or Nate Oates?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Nick Saban leading with 53.7% of the vote.
No way.
That's what it says.
How old is Nate Oates?
It doesn't matter. He crushed Nick Saban. He's also bigger than him, and that just would not be a fair fight.
So it does matter how big you are. And I don't know how big Nate Oates is.
Bigger than Nick.
That's not hard, but it also doesn't dictate how much bigger. So Nate Oates is 48 years old, and Nick is 70. So this is like a Rocky 6 type situation where you're talking about that. Yeah, Nate Oates, Nick might be wiry, but 70-year-old Nick, doesn't Nick have a new hip too? Didn't he get a hip or a knee replacement a couple years ago?
Probably.
No, he did. I can't remember if it was a hip or a knee. He got something replaced. He got a joint replaced a couple years ago. If 48-year-old Nate Oates, I'd probably go there. I wish I knew how big Nate Oates was.
I'm trying to find that out, actually, currently. It doesn't even list his position that he played. That's the problem.
He played at Marantha Baptist.
Yeah.
So I would assume if you could find an old Marantha Baptist program from 93 to 97, you could probably get Nate Oates' height and weight. And I'm guessing he's probably still at about his playing weight right now. He looks like he stays fit. But either way, there's a reason there's weight classes in the fight game. And so I would probably go with Nate Oates over Nick if I had to. All right. Did you find it?
I can't find. I'm trying. I typed it in Marantha Baptist basketball 1993. And
yeah, I don't think that's going to show up.
It's not happening.
Your
right
best
now.
bet there, Muse, is to go to the Marantha Baptist athletics website and look into their archives. That's going to be your best bet. And I don't know that you could pull that off before we get off.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but you could try. You could keep looking it up there. All right. Big shout out to Hunt Palmer, who apparently is at the box, who just texted me a picture of the lineup from the press box. So that's good. Okay, so here we go. Here's LSU starting lineup. Blake Money is going to get the start as we assumed he would tonight. I talked about that last hour with Doug Thompson. There is a change at the top. Josh Pearson is going to lead off, and he'll play in right field. Dylan Cruz moves up to the 2-hole, and Tommy White will bat third. Trey Morgan will move to the cleanup spot. Gavin Dugas will bat fifth. Jared Jones will bat sixth and DH. Braden Jobert goes into the lineup in left field, something we wondered might happen today, and will bat seventh. Jordan Thompson will bat eighth and play short, and Alex Milazzo will get the start tonight behind the dish and will bat ninth. You give Brady Neal a night off there. Milazzo has swung a pretty consistent bat this year, which has been good to see. He's batting .316 on the season. This will be Milazzo's third start of the season and his 20th game played. So Pearson, Cruz, White, Morgan, Dugas, Jones, Jobert, Thompson, Milazzo for LSU. And they'll face Oliver Loftman, who is a junior righty with a 1.50 ERA. This is only his second start of the year. 13 strikeouts and 12 innings pitched and 5 walks on the season. An opponent batting average against at .217. I'm a little surprised that Kling is not in the lineup. It is a good opportunity to get Jobert back in the lineup. I thought Kling would stay in the lineup, just move down out of the leadoff spot. But maybe this is an instance where Jay Johnson is looking at it similar to what he said to Jared Jones when he was having trouble with the swing and miss. He said, look, just watch. Just sit and watch. Disengage from the intensity of the moment and just watch. And it did Jared Jones an awful lot of good, having the opportunity to decompress, to take a breath, and to watch and observe. And maybe the same will be true for Paxton Kling. Paxton Kling is going to be a major part of whatever LSU does this year. That much is certain. So if this is what it takes to sort of let him get back on track, to have an opportunity to sit and watch, okay then. But it's also an open door for Braden Jobert, as he's going to play left field and get an opportunity to go swing it tonight. And if he pounds the baseball, he might pound his way back into this lineup as well. So, again, Pearson leads off. Pearson, Cruz, White, Morgan, Dugas, Jones, Jobert, Thompson, Milazzo is how LSU will line it up tonight against Central Arkansas. First pitch, 45 minutes away from right now. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills is home of the Charlie's Dozen, a dozen benefits extended to you and your vehicle when you buy tires at Shaw Bills. So you can always log on to ShawBillsTire.com to learn more. Hit the promotions tab right at the top of the page, and you'll see all of the promotions that they have. They have a great Bridgestone and Firestone special right now. So, again, we're talking about name brand tires, not knockoff brands, name brand tires, the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible. Ask about the Shaw Bills credit card as well. When you use your Shaw Bills credit card, the first purchase you make on your Shaw Bills credit card, you always get $50 off. So, for example, an oil change is $49.99. Just basically swipe the card. They'll charge $1 to swipe the card. You're essentially getting a free oil change. That's at Shaw Bills. ShawBillsTire.com. Learn more about their great offers. Schedule service online. Shop tires online. Find the location nearest you online. It's ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. Did we find a height and weight on Nate Oates?
Not officially, no.
Did you just Google Nate Oates' height weight?
I did that. It didn't. It was like a bunch of estimations. I don't know why you can't find Nate Oates' height.
I don't care what the estimation is. What's the height?
Well, I saw one that was like 6 feet, but he looks a little bit taller than 6 feet when you see him on TV. I mean, it's not like his players tower over him. That's why I say that.
Let's see. He's from Watertown, Wisconsin. He's a 3-year starter at the Marantha Academy High School, which went 24-0 his senior year. So he played high school. Let's see. He played. And then he played at Marantha Baptist.
Yeah.
Let's see. Doesn't it?
Well, I can't even. I tried to reach their website and it won't load. That's right.
Well, I for one am stunned that you're having issues with the Marantha Baptist website.
Yeah, I know. It's shocking.
Okay. Man, I hate to just sit here and scroll a website looking for someone's height and weight. But anyway, yeah, if you gave me the option, 48-year-old Nate Oates or 70-year-old Nick Saban, I'm probably going. I'll go 48-year-old Nate Oates. Okay. All right, it's after further review. Otter's got to get back on track, man. How did he do when I was out? Do you recall?
He had a losing week.
We need baseball to start.
Yeah, and it'll be great, and then he'll go to Del Mar, and it'll be terrible.
But at least we learned the lesson.
That's fair.
When he goes to Del Mar, stop taking his picks.
Yeah.
Like he's done it. He's done at that point. You know? I mean, like, build your nest egg while he's rolling through the summer or until the summer when he leaves in June or whenever that is. And then, hey, fade the Otter the rest of the way.
I mean, look, the World Baseball Classic play hit last night. It just was in a parlay. But to your point, we need baseball.
Yeah. Okay. Curious how the Otter's feeling about baseball right now. We'll ask him. Okay. Final break of the show, y'all. We'll come back and do some Otter Locks. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Big shout out, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. They were nice enough to connect us with Gavin Guidry, LSU freshman phenom, who is part of the G team. Of course, Lake Charles, Barb High School, came to LSU and could very well be LSU starting shortstop next year. One of the real gems of this signing class. Now he's part of the G team as well. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorney's been helping injured people around Louisiana for more than 30 years now. You know, if you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, you need representation. Don't go it alone. You can trust Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Just call 888-8888, 888-8888, or go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. And you see Gordon all over. Radio, TV, billboards, and with all the NIL work he's done with collegiate athletes all over the state of Louisiana, helping improve the lives of Louisianians. Get Gordon and get it done.
The best-kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Jeep Gladiators and $8,000 off new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokees. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Water.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR. Remember, if you miss anything, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time, golf.breck.org. And great championship golf. If you want to play in tournament golf coming up, you can go register at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ottfather himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Well, that was a small plate to choose from last night. I mean, we can't fault Julius Randle for the Knicks losing. I mean, all he did was pour in 57. 8-9 game winning streak.
Oh, man.
The T-Wolves win without Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. But, so we go back to that one little well that we get getting some bites out of, and that's the World Baseball Classic.
Let's go.
Miami. So let me get this straight. Who's the hottest hitter for the U.S. right now?
Mike Trout.
It would be Trey Turner.
Oh, Trey Turner. Yeah, I haven't watched a single pitch of the World Baseball Classic. I just thought you were setting me up for a Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout.
No. It's good stuff, man.
Sure. No doubt. Yeah.
It's a completely different baseball environment with the crowds, the fans. Never seen any emotional, kind of display that we saw out of Ohtani with their, 2-run, walk-off double last night in the semis against Mexico. So it's fun. It's fun. So it's coming on in about 30 minutes. Trey Turner's batting 9th, Matt, in the lineup. Okay, and he is on fire. It's not a big deal with the Phillies. I like 10-1 to be the NL MVP. I mean, he's just on fire. But it is, the lineup is not compromised. It is absolutely loaded. But the pitching is, they're on pitch counts, so they're compromised. Ohtani will not start tonight. They threw their best starter last night. Guy was only throwing 103 consistently last night for Japan. And so you got Goldschmidt, you got Trout, you got Anderson, they're scoring tons of runs. We're going to go over
1 minute remaining.
We already got hosed on the movement. It went from 10 to 10.5. But Japan is down the line pitching. They can hit as well. I think it's going to be plenty of runs.
All right.
In tonight's final.
Let's go. Go USA, like the British chap cheered in the soccer game 15 years ago and who pretended to care about the U.S. soccer. Otter, where are you tonight?
We're at Dozy Place on Government Street.
Oh, heck yeah, man. Get you a steak, get you an old-fashioned. My goodness. Great stuff.
Yes, indeed.
All right, Otter, we appreciate you, man. Have an awesome show. Thanks as always. All right, Game Time with Jimmy Ott follows us in Baton Rouge. If you're not in Baton Rouge, online at 1045ESPN.com or the Game Time with Jimmy Ott Facebook page. If you miss anything, AFR On Demand, presented by Brett Golf. We'll see you tomorrow at 3. Muse, Paulie, y'all have a great night. Jimmy Ott's next. It's AFR.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, I'm going to take 60 seconds and remind you about the Williamson Eye Center. I hope this is the push that you need. I hope this message right now, this 60 seconds, is the push that's going to get you to pick up the phone, to make the call, to log onto the website, to book the appointment, to book the consultation with Dr. Blake Williamson. Y'all, if you have been on the fence, and everyone listening to me right now who wears contacts or glasses, I know this because I was you. You at some point in your life have thought, man, I wonder if I'd be a candidate for LASIK. I wonder if I can afford that. I wonder if I could do that. I wonder if that would work for me. One way to find out. Go for the free consultation with Dr. Blake Williamson. Just go get the info. Change your life. It's the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville or NOLAFlooring.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.